Oh, I'm not gonna be able to hear it when I put on my headphones.
I'm a fresh looking boy. I've got a lovely like red bandana over my eyes. You know how like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles used to have.
Oh,
Kind
yeah.
of like that, but a lot smaller and more compact. And I've got two fancy big old cowboy boots with spurs on the back that are bigger than my eyes. Every time I walk,
fucking body.
so as I walk down the street, they know I'm coming, and it's a good time for all. Good time for all.
Okay, and I'd like to make you, can you roll a stealth check with disadvantage because of the snow spurs?
I'm weak.
I had this problem. I just talked right. So disadvantage, stealth.
14. That's okay. They hear a little bit of a clatter, but they just think it's like the boat taking off the sea. And they're like,
He's light on his feet, bro. He's light on his feet.
None the wiser that you were stowing away on their ship.
I laughed at myself.
And you just come across this poor little Sida face first on the boardwalk as a certain Chatot is giving a performance right now. What do you guys want to do?
Oh.
Wait, do I see the Ryan get like...
Yes, you're facing the dock as you see all of this. You can roll a perception if you want, or if you don't want.
I'm sure my perception's not gonna be great. 18.
Oh,
you know
you
how
see
I asked her for some money. I start asking for some money. I'm greedy.
I'm like,
I want some money.
I need to write that
you
down
gonna
for my
tip
next
me?
song. Hey, are you okay? I yell over.
Who's saying that? Oh my god, my ears.
What?
The collection of caterpies and giggles now listening to Charlie, like, is this part of the song? They just begin clapping, like, hey, yeah, they're shouting along, hey! Okay.
I move slowly towards her, and then, without saying a word, without uttering even a noise, I wink at her and pull a handkerchief out from the inside of my boot and hand it to her to wipe the spit off.
Oh no.
Thank you for the handkerchief.
You
But who are you?
They call me Gorilla, but you may call me Gar. They call me Gar. Forget the first part. I was just trying to be macho. Don't worry about that.
Oh, okay, God. Thank you for the handkerchief. You can have it back though.
No, please keep it.
Oh,
I
okay.
insist. He looks down to see a big green loogie all over it.
Oh no.
Oh,
Alright, I'll keep it for my own personal belongings. Thank you very much.
okay.
I'm not sure I'll do that.
And as this is going on, a certain explorer, for the time being, with a little note in her hand saying, "Meet me at Bugsdale," a Vulpix comes walking down, seeing the noise of the group shouting, "Hey, are you okay?" And she's just like, she can't help but notice what's going on as this group is shouting out loud. And so she tucks neatly her little note that she's got away. And Amber, if you want to introduce yourself, or I should say.
Yeah.
All right, and what do you
So, I am a lovely fairy Vulpix, and I see this
You think he'll evolve into
going down,
Polytoad
and I'm
or
just like, hey,
a Polyrath?
what's going on here? What's this party? And why didn't you invite me?
You're welcome to join. Do you have any money? I'm trying. I can sing. I can do anything. I can perform. Please. I haven't eaten in so long.
Oh
And also
god.
that side duck over there got chucked off a boat and she looks injured.
He's so
Oh
mean.
no! I go
He's
to
so
I go
mean.
to you, right, and be like, are you okay? Who did this to you, huh?
Okay, and as this is happening, I'm sorry, the crowd's saying that, I guess Charlie is done doing his, like, bardic thing of doing his performance. They're like, oh, is it over? Okay, and they just start scattering away.
No, come back! I need you! No! Charlie, you're such a failure. Like always.
And if you want to
I
describe your
guess
character,
once
go ahead.
they disperse, I'm gonna walk over
to the only other thing that's happening in this Weedle Caterpie town, which is this concoction of other Pokemon.
Okay.
With a tear in my eye.
Just want to say, buddy, I've never seen a better performance than I've seen today. I would clap my hands, but I don't have any, so you can.
I look up at him with his huge boots. I mean, I really look up at him.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
And then I also notice he does not have ears.
Oh
And I'm like,
That makes sense.
Yeah, I was also just gonna be, what the heck are you talking about? That's the most awful thing I've ever heard.
I agree. That sounds like an alarm.
Oh, yes. I wish I could sing, but I'm cursed with this parrot-like voice.
I sit down and I'm sort of in a melancholic state. Dreams dashed and
You
ruined.
got 2 stacks.
But I appreciate as long as people listen. And I made 5 Pokebugs.
Oh.
Oh, you made 5 Pokebugs? I got a
Yes.
nice handkerchief from Gap. Should we trade?
Is it worth 5 Pokebugs?
Yes.
Silk, mate.
Yeah, fuck it.
I hand you the 5 Pokebucks and I take the handkerchief.
Sweet. Maybe I can sell this for more. I'm a master barterer.
And as this is going on, you still see dock workers and other things
just went the other
interacting
way.
with one another. Ships are coming into port with a bunch of magic harps on the inside of them, trapped on the inside, which are mostly for food. But you do hear like them saying, "No, don't eat me! Oh no, I'm not tasty!" as they're all like trapped inside of there because you are able to understand Pokemon now. Like, "Oh no, tasty!" They're all flopping around on the inside, and like the fishermen, which are a group of Caterpies, they're using their nets. They're like webs, and they're like dragging them onto the dock. They're like, "Oh, shut up, shut up!" And they're dragging them across. Yeah. Just getting a little background.
Oh, that looks delicious.
So, quick question. Can we tell the difference between who is a human and who is a Pokemon?
Yes, all humans are wearing clothes. It's all
Yeah,
clothes.
he said that already.
So if I got
They
naked,
don't listen.
then there's no other thing that would tell
They would
me.
assume you're wild.
Well, if I'm
Are the
naked, I'm running
Caterpies
wild.
wearing clothes? Are the Caterpies wearing clothes?
Yes, they're all dock workers. You can see they're wearing like sailor
Oh, I
uniforms and
see.
other things like that. They're all geared up.
On.
Yeah.
Oh, cute little sailor Caterpies. That's adorable.
Some even have like a little peg leg on, just to like just kind of like. Yeah. Yeah.
So good.
Okay. And you know, as they're all doing that, you see to like a trader, like a Weedle comes up to it, and is like, "Hey, this isn't what we ordered. We needed more." And like the Caterpies, the water's not fresh. We aren't allowed to go very far. You know that. We can't go very far. That we've been isolated from the rest of the world. I don't
I'm
care.
losing my mind.
We have the whole
That all
world
of-
to feed. Oh, what's that?
I can't believe that all of your MPs so far have been British. I'm losing my mind. This is going to be the whole campaign.
Well, it is an island, you know.
But we're in England.
Yeah, it can be whatever you want.
Oh God, no! No, get me
Run,
wrong.
get me out of here! Not England!
You guys are isolated from the world.
How
So
am I
yeah,
on?
they're having this argument. And
Where did my team go?
I mean, I point over and they would go like, wow, they're really having an argument over there.
It's not my business, though.
Can we listen in?
Of course you can.
I'd like to listen in.
They don't really care.
I knew it.
They're just going off. It's like. Well,
I was like, I should really be
anymore.
taking that from him
Okay, so
because
just
he's
skip
gonna
this
evolve.
anyway, you stupid Caterpies. And he just kind of storms off. And, well, you know, he's just stuck with all the rest of the
They
magic
won't do
cards.
it. They want to attack the Pokemon, so I'm doing
That's
it.
a decrease in pay. And he's just trying to like haul up all the rest of the magic cards, putting them up on the floor, putting them up on the land. And as you guys are
Where is
listening
it
to this,
going?
there's even more dissonance going on the outside. You can hear just a little bit of chaos going on in the main street.
Weedle versus Caterpie gang war?
Is there any way to stir things up?
Oh,
You wanted to get it what?
oh, I wanna go to the widow that just got left with all the magic carp.
It was actually it was a caterpillar.
Caterpillar.
Oh, it was a canopy. Sorry.
The problem is people like you that don't see the difference between them. That's the problem, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, hey there.
I didn't
Your
realize this
cat
was
looks
open.
delicious.
Oh,
Maybe I can get one of these.
Yeah, we're gonna put it up in the Pokish shop here soon. You'll be able to buy it just for, $2 Poké depending on which one. They're not too expensive. They're just magic carp after all.
What about a napkin?
What about
$2 Make it one.
$2.
Make it one.
Yeah, make it one now.
Well, I might have a little of a young one in here. Maybe you could have $1. I wouldn't mind that.
A young one? No, give me your biggest one for $1 right now.
These guys are mental. I wish I had this sort of confidence.
And the magic carp on the inside, like, no, that's not a thing. The canopy just like, shut up, he sprays more web over that. Okay. So, well, I actually have to sell it to the Poké Center first, but you can get it there. They don't allow us to do direct deals.
Hold up.
Hey, listen now. Hey, I want it now.
Are we robbing these guys?
Let's do an intimidation check, I guess.
Oh. Oh, 1 second. There we go.
Got him.
Well, he's just a caterpillar.
Psychic, bro.
Okay. That'll be $1 Poké as he pulls out, he shoots his web and yanks out a medium-sized magic carp for you.
Oh.
You can do that? You can just threaten people? I've been being ripped off my whole life. I'm not
Thank you
even
very
real
much.
trackers.
No offense, buddy, but with a voice like that, I could see you getting picked on a lot.
Yeah. I sounded like that when I was a human too.
Well, I didn't mean to laugh that heartily, I'm sorry. Anyway, Caterpie, what's your name?
My name is, Willis. Willis the Caterpie.
Willis, might I just say, that's a fine haul of Magikarp you've got there.
Yeah, I got 5.
I'm impressed. 5's a big number.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Okay.
Well, 4 now because, he looks over to Amber, kind of shaking.
Oh.
He's like,
Don't mind my friend over here. Ignore her. She's a little bit aggressive. So, I would like to know what's going on in this town. Things seem a little bit hostile, a little bit tense.
The Beatles, they think they're just superior because they have the horns and whatnot. They always just think they're better than all of us. Well, they can't spring web, they can't make buildings like us. Come on. Without the canopies, they'd be useless.
I'm with you there, buddy. Have you ever thought of an uprising? I mean, I'm not going to suggest an uprising out loud like that, but have you ever thought about it?
Well, to be fair, we actually are trying to take over the town a little bit here. Things are getting a little high, but...
Whoa! Things are getting interesting.
Whoa. Shit, I was traveling through town just trying to make money and now there's a gang war?
Well, it's...
Wait, less of a war, more of a revolution.
Oh, no,
Restoring the rights that were wronged. Am I right, my Caterpie boy?
That's right.
Wait, who's the mayor around here?
We stink.
We don't really have a mayor. We have Officer Benny.
Look at all these
He's
kills
the
I
growler
got,
that
man.
kinda keeps
8
track of
kills,
all around
bro.
here.
Psychic
He tries his
hard.
best, but he's just a growler. He can't do everything.
My angles are insane.
So you don't have a mayor, you say?
We're just a small town. We're not like a city or anything like that.
Guys,
We
what's your
don't have a
mayor?
mayor.
No, we just like Officer Benny.
I think you'd make a good mayor. I think you'd make a really good mayor.
You think that? You think I'm strong enough for that?
Strong enough? You're stronger than anyone else here, including me.
You're right. And he spits
I
back
am
at
right.
Amber's magic carpet and takes it back. I'll be taking that back.
Good on you. That's what I like to see. I'm proud of you.
My Pokebuck.
Dude, we should have
I'll
lost
spit back your
that.
Pokebug bag and you can get it back.
Look, this is a strong and fair mayor. That's what we like to see.
Wait, hold on, Brian, you said you didn't know what a mayor was.
Yeah, what's a mayor?
Where are you from? Like, before
I my mangas, my books. I'm not so sure.
You're from Shimmerland City. You would know that because you're from Shimmerland City.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I was too into my collection and reading.
She didn't read anything about her character, bro.
No, I was just reading.
She didn't read anything about her character.
Man. What book's too late?
No.
So we're literally chatting. We've got a worm over here in Chatterpie, and we've got a literal bookworm over here.
Will's is already just kind of moving away from
I'm really just gonna be bullied.
Ew, you're reading books?
It's a
Alright, you weren't
it's a
born
little
reading books.
R-rated, but would you like one?
I'm a big fan of reading.
Willis is now at the top of the dock, and he runs into a Weedle. And the Weedle's like, "Pardon me, why are you doing this? How dare you step on my way?" And Willis is like, "What are you talking about? I'm the strongest here." And they immediately start getting into a Pokemon battle. Alright?
Yeah,
Oh boy, Willis!
And so, let me just do a little count here. So, let me just do this. Actually,
Yeah, like species.
the Weedle gets a little like, "You are nothing compared to me." And he just stabs him right in the face, and Willis just heals over poison and is now on the floor, passed out with a bunch of
No.
I mean, I put over to Goodwill it, but it was like, I mean, this is your fault. You did this to him.
Well, that didn't go to plan.
This surely can't be legal.
I'm gonna march straight to that Weedle, and I'll have a little chat with him. I'm not liking this.
Messing them up.
Okay. As you approach the Weedle, he's just scoffing at the Willis, who's now wounded on the floor. He's not dying. He did non-lethal damage because Pokemon are resistant to battle. Battle is kind of normal for them. But he is injured. And he's just like, "Shoot, you right." Oh, sorry, that's not what I said. "Shoot, you right. You disgusting caterpie." And he just starts crawling away as best as he can. And as you get up inside the dock, you're now able to see the full view of the city, which seems to be divided into separate places. One side has kind of like green roofs and a scattering of trees and other things that have been woven between each building, kind of even going in between the buildings, which you guys know because maybe some of you have been here a while, because there are caterpies on the inside. They can't use normal human houses anymore. They have to use different lodgings. And the other side is, on the right side of the city, is divided completely by Weedles, which again has more trees, but they're darker in tone, and they're keeping separate from one another.
I want to give the Caterpie mouth to mouth.
Okay.
For my benefit, then.
I guess roll a medicine check to see how well you're able to do CPR.
Here we go. Let's go. Oh, I think this is.
Oh no! That's you did advantage.
Take the first one.
Oh no, it's your first. So you critically fail. So actually, it turns out that your lips have hurt him even more, and now he is bleeding out because he was unable to breathe.
Right.
He might be in serious trouble right now.
I'm gonna start singing, and I'm gonna do a good old soothing voice, which is essentially
Why'd you
just
decide to fight?
Cures, but the Pokemon.
Why'd you decide to
And I'm
fight?
gonna heal this Caterpie.
He is fully up now.
Oh, the XP share.
That's why it's so strong.
Willis immediately hears this, and he was about to have a peaceful death, but this coarse, grating voice.
Oh, hold on. You don't twist this into me doing a bad thing.
Just brings him back from the edge of the bright light, and he goes away and he jerks back to life, completely back. And it's like, what just happened? What?
You're welcome. I give you.
You like that?
You're welcome.
He did nothing. I want to stress for the record, and he did nothing.
Okay.
Do occurrences like this happen often in this town? Do you guys like severely injure each other on a frequent basis like this?
Well, yeah, it happens. We're Pokemon. All we know to do is fight. It's just in our blood now. It's just kind of like this natural thing inside of all of us, right? sure even you fight, right?
It's not right. This guy?
Like,
Oh, yeah, of course.
What? It's not
Also-
right. Fighting is not right.
This guy doesn't fight.
No, we need to live in peace and harmony. Listen, I know you were talking about overthrowing the Weedles, but if you do that, all of your friends and family are going to die. There must be another way. There must be a way that you two can live together in peace and harmony.
well, roll a persuasion check, I guess. Persuasion.
Alright, let's go.
You did save him, so actually do it with advantage.
Oh, advantage, I guess I just rolled.
Because you did save his
Yeah,
life.
still 13 though.
Okay, 13. He looks at you and he's like,
Dude, they're
you
all
did save
popular.
me. Although
What
he did
the
almost, well, he actually
They
did
didn't even
that,
get
so
nothing
You
out
did
of it.
save me after that brute attacked me. You know, maybe not Weedles, but maybe I can live in peace with you guys. And maybe you know, man, there is this couple going on. People don't make much of them. They've been the talk of the town lately. There's this Weedle called Leonardo, and he's in love with the head of the Caterpies, Jasmine. And they do love each other way enough.
I was joking when I said this is going to be like Romeo and Juliet.
And you know, the town doesn't want them to get together, but maybe if you guys can do something about it, you know, maybe something can happen.
You hear that, guys? If we get this Canopy and Weedle together, maybe it will unite the two clans so they can live in happiness. And we can
No, but I want to fight.
What's that?
Great. Okay, who's on my
Who
side?
wants to
Who's-
fight?
I'm on your side.
Like,
I'm on your side.
Thanks, Ryan.
There
You,
you
wanna
go.
show, you need to show me that book sometimes. What did you say it was?
Don't worry. It's secret between you and I.
Okay, thank you. Okay, appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
Right, well, it looks like we're having a little civil war within this party.
And as this civil war goes down, the Weedle who knocked out Willis earlier bumps into another Caterpie that has a jasmine flower on the top of her head. And
I assume that what is that?
and he goes,
Deduction. I can do
out of my
investigation roll.
way, you filth. And she just kind of falls onto the floor. Yes, that's Jasmine. And she falls and goes, oh, damn it. She dramatically falls onto the floor.
Oh, hey, yo, I'm not standing for that. I'm going to smack him up. Attack roll.
Okay.
I'm done with this Caterpie. I've had enough of him.
Violence between the
The Weedle. I'm not going to smack Jasmine up.
He's gonna smack Jasmine out.
I'm waiting to Jasmine.
Violence begets more violence. No.
And as you're strolling up to him, you see another Weedle charge at the other Weedle and stab him directly in the side. And he's like, oh, and he falls over unconscious as well. They're not very strong, they're just like Pokemon. So he immediately falls over, and he's like, Madame, Jasmine, I'm so sorry about that. And he like nuzzles her back onto her feet. Oh, you're so brave. And as a group of them starts gathering around, what are you doing? How dare you attack your fellow comrades? And more Weedles and more Caterpies are beginning to see what's going on. And tensions are starting to rise as you begin to gather around them. Mr. God, should I just call you
Willow.
Yeah, Willow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Screw me, yeah, that's fine.
No, yeah, no worries. I say to Rusted, or to Cheddar. Hey, okay, so if you're gonna do this harmony thing, can I be the mayor?
It's the final stretch.
You
Oh my
want to
god.
gain power? Listen, I just don't want to see more wasted death. You can be a mayor if you want to. You just have to convince these lots. And I guess I
Enough,
point
fair
to
enough.
the feuding clans.
If you help me, I'll help you do that.
What's your plan?
I don't know.
Okay, and as you guys are discussing all of this, poor Gawag,
I should have united earlier when I had my team. Or when we refought.
Both Caterpies and Weedle's
Zazura got it. Oh, we're not punished.
I wanna.
Alright, they were talking about fighting.
Ooh, and he falls over unconscious as well. They're not very strong, they're just bug.
And so they can live in happiness. And we can, when we...
No, but I want to fight.
What's that?
Right, okay, who's on my side of this again?
I'm on your side.
Like we're
I'm on your
divided.
side.
Thanks, Ryan.
There
You need to show me that book sometimes. What did you say it was?
Don't worry, it's secret between you and I.
Okay, thank you. Okay, appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
Right, well, it looks like we're having a little civil war within this party.
And as this civil war goes down, the Weedle who knocked out Willis earlier bumps into another Caterpie that has a jasmine flower on her top of her head. And
We're not going for scoring.
and he goes,
deduction. I can do
"Get out of my way, you filth!" And she just kind of falls onto the floor. Yes, that's Jasmine. And she falls and like, oh damn it!
They're not scoring?
Falls onto the floor.
Oh, hey yo, I'm not standing for that. I'm gonna smack him up. Attack roll.
Okay.
I'm done with the Caterpie.
We're definitely winning, right?
Violence between the
My
Caterpie, the Weedle. I'm not gonna smack Jasmine up.
I'm saying it's a wrestling.
Violence begets more violence. No.
And as you're strolling up to him, you see another Weedle charge at the other Weedle and stab him directly in the side.
What?
And he's like, oh, and he falls over unconscious as well. They're not very strong, they're just bug Pokemon. So he immediately falls over, and he's like, Madame, Jasmine, I'm so sorry about that. And he like nuzzles her back onto her feet.
Oh my god,
You're so
finally.
brave. And as a group of them starts gathering around, what are you doing? How dare you attack your fellow comrades? And more Weedles and more Caterpies are beginning to see what's going on. And tensions are starting to rise as you begin to gather around them. Mr. Should I just call you
Willow.
Willow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Screw me, yeah, that's fine.
No worries. I say to Rusted, or to Chad. Hey, okay, so if you're gonna do this harmony thing, can I be the mayor?
You want to gain power? Listen, I just don't want to see more wasted death. You can be a mayor if you want to. You just have to convince these lots. And I guess I point to the feuding clans.
If you help me, I'll help you do that.
What's your plan?
I don't know.
Jesus
I don't
Christ.
know.
Women are so useless. I don't know. Women don't know.
Okay, and as you guys are discussing all of this, poor Gawag, or poor Guy, is in the middle of this calamity going on. He's getting a little bullied and jostled by both Caterpies and Weedles alike. Is there anything you want to do?
Yeah, I wanna boom at the top of my big, loud, polyloud voice for everyone to be quiet.
What?
Okay, that's an intimidation check, I guess. So go ahead and roll that.
Just normal, yeah.
Normal
I'm
intimidation.
just gonna yell at everybody, like, everybody calm down.
Oh, 7. You try your best to scream and shout, but the cries just keep getting louder and louder as the tensions build. And you see Leonardo. Did I call him this? Yeah, Leonardo pulled Jasmine kind of like close and trying to protect her because she is a little hurt right now. But they're just trying to like tug and trying to pull them away at one another. And they're actually going to start fighting soon.
Okay, let me. I fire a fireball in the air and yell, "Shut the fuck up, everyone!" And hopefully that will help do something.
Okay, roll another intimidation check.
Oh, I cross my fingers.
They're really fighting. They really don't.
They don't even notice the fireball. They just think it's like the enemy at this point, and that spurs them on even more. And so now they're actually
like a
attacking.
flare.
They actually are like it's just a flare that sets off the tensions immediately. And now they're
There's
attacking.
3 options. I see three options. One, we try and rule by an iron fist by wiping them all out. Two, we desperately try and make peace and love. Or three, we get the fuck out of here.
I've
got an idea. While they're all fighting, can we just take one of the boats?
Yeah.
Are we leaving?
The boats are still manned by the dock workers. Okay?
They're trying to steal
They're
a
still manned by the
boat?
dock workers.
I assume the dock
Why are
workers
they
are fighting.
stealing
No,
a
they're still by the
boat?
docks, and some of them are just sailors, some of them are, you know, there's other guards and things there. You will have to
We
deal with.
could try and persuade them off the boat.
What?
If you
It's
want to
too
do that,
late.
sure.
They keep
What is
saying
the
they're
plan,
fine.
team? I've only known you guys for a few minutes, but I feel bonded to you lot because you're the first group of Pokemon that have talked to me for more than 5 minutes. What is
Oh,
bug?
God.
And you're not a bunch of bugs as well.
I have his notes, and like, I don't know what it says. But
Oh my
I asked
God,
around,
she
and
said
they
she's
say
gonna
I
pull
can
out
come
this
here,
note.
So I'm not sure
Wait
if
a
I
minute,
can
Lisa.
leave.
Did you have a note?
Yeah.
And
it was,
as she says that,
She's got characters.
a Abra is slowly floating down the way towards the Calamity. He's just kind of hovering towards there. And he's just looking at all this chaos. He's wearing a lab coat with a dark shirt underneath. And he's just slowly floating towards this. And he sees all these people just doing all these things. And he holds out his hand. And he freezes at least 5 of them all in place as they're all just kind of stuck in place. Like, whoa, what's going on? And as that moment, he's just like, what are you two guys? What are you lot doing in the middle of the streets? And that, of course, as seeing all them like stop in the middle, and he moves them to his side, lifts them into the air. That causes everyone to like go, what's going on? And like, oh, it's Alistair. You see the whispers going around. And he gently places them down now. And he's like, you know better than to start this. What if Officer Benny saw all of this? He wouldn't leave you, as you were. And he gently just, he looks at you travelers there too. He's like, did you incite this?
No!
Yeah. No.
Oh! He looks directly at Sif for saying that. And he like, looks into her. And he's like, tilts his neck to the side, curiously. And he looks at Rusty.
Charlie.
Sorry. He breaks the fourth wall. Sorry. He looks at Charlie.
Holy shit!
He looks at Charlie. And he looks at God. And then finally he looks at Rye.
I have no reason to
I
fight.
want you to do a wisdom save.
Wisdom
Oh, no.
You hear inside of your mind, what are you? His lips are not moving. It's like, you have power too, don't you?
And like as I'm looking
Wait,
at
get away.
him, I'm like shaking and I'm like peeing myself.
What?
Hey,
Don't scare her.
can I use dance, by the way?
Dan?
Yeah, because like
I died. What
Amber
the
threw
heck?
a ball of fire, and so like there's fire around us.
Well, I
There's
mean,
no access on one.
isn't that just
Oh,
ability
wow,
to move
you
faster?
died.
You get like 40-foot movement speed, if I remember.
Resistance to fire damage.
Well, you're not getting attacked by fire. He's using his,
I don't know.
he's reading your mind. He's literally reading your mind.
Oh my god.
He's,
Oh.
okay.
I'm shaking.
I was like,
Yeah.
he looks at you lot like, you're not from around here.
No.
And then I look over at Charlie. He's talking to me.
In your brain?
I think so.
Oh.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
Yo,
Oh my
that's
gosh,
kind
I'm
of
so
fucked
low.
up. I
I'm
said,
so low.
That's pretty rude. That's pretty
Yeah.
rude.
I don't know who you are, but that definitely, like, that breaks some sort of law. I feel. Go on, read my minds. Go on, do my minds.
I
Do my mind
think there's
next.
nothing inside there.
Hey, that's hurtful.
Well, it doesn't appear that many of you are threats. It seems that you did try to stop it. So I suppose you guys can go about your daily business.
What's happening here? If you have so much power, why don't you stop this?
Dude. Also,
My job
can you
is
please stop terrifying this Psydog? She's pissing herself.
I'm scared.
I know, I can't see
My
that
apologies.
she's yellow, but it is
No,
No, I missed!
right beside her.
I don't mean to be stinky. I promise I'll wipe myself.
My apologies. I do not mean to frighten you. We are all fellow humans, and I'm merely I'm only here to do my research and try and find a
I was like, oh, the Snorlax is chasing me because they're going for the Dread. Nah. So I just juked the Snorlax and I came back for him.
Everyone is just at each other's throats, trying to think that Caterpies or Weevils are more superior. It's ridiculous.
This red buff's gonna be helpful.
They're all bugs. They're all useless.
Some of them are useful.
9, 10, 10,
He looks
10.
directly at you, looking a little peeved that you said that.
I don't see you stabbing someone to death. You a hornless, and I cannot come up with a good insult. Like I just like I flip and fail.
I die!
And I like stutter.
Where's my team?
Anyway, did you say you're trying to find a cure?
Yes, I've been trying to find a cure. I'm gonna go to the Poké Center for supplies.
Oh, dang, it's too late.
Do you need help? I can work for money. I can sing.
Do any of you have any research in Pokemon? Have any of you actually researchers?
Brian, you read books.
I do research in positions. If you're interested.
My lord.
I don't know.
Like quarterback? Like point guard?
It could be like healing positions, you know.
More like cowgirl.
I don't know what all that's from, but I'm excited to find out.
That's very
We're
interesting.
talking about no tanks now. Alistair's just.
I believe it can help you. Guys, let's go help. Let's go help them.
I don't need your assistance, right?
Ooh.
Because you guys barely were able to manage this situation by yourselves.
We didn't try. Hold on, we didn't try. We were gonna just leave.
And we were going to start a riot.
I know you know
we
it's
were
really
trying.
Yeah.
I feel like if we tried, we could have done something, but we didn't want to. It's not our fight.
Alistair just shakes his head. As long as that one is around, I don't know if I can trust you. He puts that guy, Willip. And it's like,
He is untrustworthy.
Actually,
My
I
first
got
impressions
that
of him is he is a criminal and a creep
No, it's
and a
too late.
bully.
What, Al, my friend, what can I do to persuade you that I'm a good boy? I'm a good boy, good boy. I've got smarts, I've got
Can you
brains.
give me a nickname?
He's nice. He gave me a handkerchief.
I'm a gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
tell you
And
what,
I love that.
he looks
Yeah,
towards
someone like someone
the
who's
now
good at a
beaten
fight, so.
and broken Leonard and Jasmine. Because they're all kind of like beaten up on the floor. They're looking very worse for the wear because they're in the middle of that riot. You can stop.
Don't give
by
them
helping
mouth.
Don't do that. He like looks at you. I saw what you did to that one earlier. As he looks at Will.
That was a slip of the tongue.
Don't do anything that would cause me to have to get you arrested by Officer Benny. And he just goes about his way towards the purpose of it.
What are we doing?
Wait.
You see Jasmine and Leonardo on the floor right next to you.
Yeah,
And
and
they're
we'll
just
see if they're okay.
Yeah.
Alright. I do
What
want these
about we
guys
were
to
on our way? Way to go away?
Does anyone have like a potion, some healing?
Okay,
rub?
here's the plan. We will talk to this Weedle and Caterpie, and if there's some easy way we can make sure they don't fucking kill each other, then we will help out, because at least then, you know, conscience cleared, etc. If it seems like an impossible task, we'll get the fuck out of
What?
here.
Smoking.
Can you do something?
Yeah. What's
I
up?
mean, Rye? Or
Oh, okay.
Psyduck, can you do something?
Can we lose it? Oh, God.
Sure.
we
What
lost
can I
it.
help you with?
Can you just make him stop fighting for a second or something?
Oh, the fight has already been
Yeah, they're not fighting
It's
anymore.
Oh, they're not fighting anymore.
They're
Oh,
not fighting.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just
I mean, like,
Jasmine-
fighting in general.
Yeah, the fight is.
Stop it.
Alistair broke it up.
Oh.
Yeah. Now we just have two injured Pokemon. I want to see if there's a way to stop this fighting without.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I guess I approach them. Are they injured, right?
Yes, they are.
I sit down next to them and I sing a song of rest, a soothing song.
Oh.
I can't. I mean, I'm not going to use the voice.
No, you're fine. They're still awake. They're conscious.
Yeah, it's not going to be like a healing spell.
Okay.
But
You
not all right.
You have such a way with words. I heard your performance earlier, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Wow, this is actually maybe the best day of my life. This is the second compliment I've gotten, which is more than I've ever gotten.
Your performance was so good. I'm just gonna give that to you.
Thank you.
And Jasmine goes, these people, they won't accept anything. They're just so barbaric ever since they became Pokémon. People that split and everything like that. Just a way that they could actually work together against something.
I thought they were going to be a little more sensitive.
Are you sure that wasn't just a problem even before they became Pokemon?
I'm not sure.
Hold on, she said something really key, which was if there's a way they could work together towards something.
Yeah, for real.
So we gotta find like a bigger enemy to unite the clans, is what you're saying?
I'll be the bad guy. I don't mind.
We can like make we can make.
You're gonna make yourself the bad guys?
We'll like dress him up, make him seem like a big evil.
I've already got a mask on.
Yeah, you're gonna make yourselves the bad guys to unite the clans, the warring factions?
And then they've been stealing so much for everyone. Everyone's just blaming each other. But it's really the Rattatas. They've just been stealing everything over and over.
Oh, I understand. Alright,
rats.
Ignore that cool idea we just had. Let's go fight some Rattatas.
Before we necessarily go wiping out some vermin, what happens if we were to join the vermin? Could we...
He said, can we join the vermin? He wants to rob them.
Without them.
Leonardo just eyes his real eyes widens, and it's just like...
I'm just saying, I'm a bit afraid of that Alice, that Abra guy. That Abra guy was a bit afraid. I don't think that's a good idea.
Was a weirdo, yeah.
It was a bit strange. I think, though, he's good at heart, and he's trying to find a way to solve things. So, don't worry about him. We'll go and meet the Rattatas, have a little meeting with him, see if things work out, and we'll go from there.
I mean, if it will make people not fight each other, just, well,
okay.
I mean, watch as we go
Now,
to
when
the
you're saying meeting, you mean that we're gonna eradicate these rats, right?
Eradicate them?
I'm sure we could like drive them away or pacify them in some way. We're gonna talk to these Rattatas, and they're gonna be like, oh, we're so weak and poor, and we need food, and we're gonna feel bad.
They're just manipulating you, Charlie. This is how you don't get money, you know that?
Listen, I'm very easily manipulated.
This is why you're poor, but Leonardo, was it? Real boy? Lover?
Yes, my name is Leonardo.
Lover boy? Lover boy. Any way to synthesize your poison? Because we could get rid of those Rattatas real quickly if we were just to spike a little bit of your grain or what.
I do have a little bit of poison.
Could you...
A day to extract anything significant. Really?
What about the...
So there's a Poliwag character. The guy talking now.
You want to call it that, and we can take
And if I was Poliwag, my whole goal was to find the
We have
King's Rock,
tried to kill them before because they
so I can become a Politoad and bully people. But
not nice.
I'll
if
find
that's what you mean.
King's Rock in the store,
And
and I'll wait to evolve into Poly World so I can steal it because I need
causing all
hits.
this chaos. They used to be not a problem before, but for whatever reason, since this Dirk fellow around.
Travel.
Dirk?
They've been more organized.
Who's this Dirk fella?
Oh yeah, so
That fella?
He's Eradicate. He's the one who's the leader of the bunch.
A fat rat.
He's the big rat that makes all of the rules.
Oh, well, let's take him out then, and then I could be rat leader. I'll wear his skin or something. Yeah, let's go. Let's go and do that.
We're just gonna go kill the big rat. Well, I mean,
Big rat?
you know,
Jasmine gets up, and she's like, I will join you if you want to do this. Maybe this can repair.
no!
No,
You got killed by a weasel!
Leonardo wants to
Die!
No, you cannot do this, Jasmine. You cannot. I will join
Yeah,
you.
listen to your boyfriend!
I will join you.
Jesus Christ!
Leonardo,
Look,
no.
Big shield.
Let the woman join.
Come on, let's not be sexist. Let's not turn down a free meat shield if we've got one.
I mean, I just don't want unnecessary death. She's A, injured, and B, easily injured.
This guy. Yeah, do you know what? Stay behind. We don't look. Without being mean, you're pathetic. So let's just stay here. Heal away.
Oh, I need you to make an intimidation check because you are. Yeah.
Oh,
you're putting her down.
Wait, can I intimidate him?
Oh, you can roll. Okay, one persuasion roll, one intimidation.
Okay, I get it.
I'll intimidate.
Okay.
Oh, my persuasion's shit.
Okay. That was really bad.
I died, bro.
No, I insist. This is
Dude, they're
not
so
fun.
strong.
If we work together, we can definitely show that the Weirdos Canopies can get along. It's gotta be the both of us. My love, Leonardo, you must understand. And Leonardo just
They only speak one language. What's wrong with the freaking hitboxes on these things, man?
We have to do this. Oh, you threw
Okay. This is so romantic.
Look,
Guys, we should join them.
What is it?
I'm doing actually. I think I have a tear in my eye. You convinced me. Front lines out. You can do this.
I just look at God and be like, she's definitely the new shield.
Yeah. Leo, if she doesn't come back in one piece, I'll at least bring back what I can.
Well, I swear they're both going.
Yes, we're both going.
Yeah, they're both going.
We're both going.
Fine. I don't need to borrow any. Right, let's go.
But don't really know what the current lair is. We haven't had any way to track them.
Useless.
We do have Officer Benny who's been trying to keep tabs on them. He's probably going to be up my spec.
Right, let's go and rob the pooch's tummy and we'll get some answers.
Fair enough. Alright, so you guys are going to head towards the
super effective bug move.
Yes. If that's where he is.
That's where the rat is.
Okay. Who is in the front?
I assume Weedle and Cadby.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Leonardo and Jasmine.
Well, I mean, you guys are like, who's looking around? Anyone looking around, or are you just looking at the character?
You have a good scout.
Yeah, I'm looking around.
Okay, just normal perception.
Yeah, that's all good with me. 11.
Okay.
I do want to state that my passive perception is 12.
Passive perception is 12. Okay. Alright,
I would like to watch the Jasmine's wiggle as we go along.
Oh! Alright, roll a stealth check so make sure Leonardo's not looking and catching.
Right, so stealth, is this with advantage because he can't actually see me because I'm behind them?
He can still look at you, make sure you're following.
Oh, wow. Okay, stealth. This will be the best roll we've had.
He catches you looking.
Man, we're awful.
You guys are not rolling really good at all today. Alright.
I just be looking, I just wink at him and say, nice.
He starts going behind Jasmine and he blocks off your view. He does not like you at all now after the talk. He does not feel safe with you guys at all. As you guys arrive into the Poké Center, you see a big Growlithe talking to Weedles and Caterpies and even Kakunas, and also they're just talking to the bug Pokemon around there, and he sees you guys rolling. He's like, "Oh man, not another one! What do you guys want? You got some more trouble going on in here?"
Are we looking at who are we looking at now? A Cocoon?
It's a Growlithe.
It's a Growlithe.
Growlithe.
Yeah, Officer Growlithe.
I look at the Kakuna, say Kakuna Matata, and then direct all my attention to the police officer.
Alright. What are you guys doing in here? And Leonardo presses forward. We're here to go fight the Rattatas who have been terrorizing our town. So you can see he's terrified of Officer Benny. He's just got this kind of regal presence around him. And he is a fighter.
I give him bardic inspiration.
Oh, okay.
You can do this, Leo. You've got this.
He's like,
You're a strong
level
fighter,
10.
okay?
right, I can do this. I can do this. We're here to fight the Rattatas.
How are you united?
Yes, that's my boy. I raised him.
Ralph is just kind of looking at you lot and just like, well, I guess that would save us a little bit of trouble out here, considering that we're already having to fight one of our own out here. Well, I'm surprised that you guys want to go and willingly do it yourselves.
Well, we just want to stop the fight.
Talking about willing.
You guys
Doing this
figure
for
out.
love.
You guys are.
Oh, he came back right on my psychic,
Looks
bro.
at,
Punk.
Will a little bit. It's like,
Super effective psychic.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Like, he talks down to his throat. Can you run back and look at some papers for me real quick? Can you do that?
Okay, I see what's going on here.
I take Gorilla to the side.
You fucking criminal.
I go.
Look, I may have been lying low, okay? But I got this. Don't worry. I go back to the. I look at Benny, and I start talking. You're right, Benny. It's good to see you again, buddy. I've not seen you since college. How are you?
Why did my entire team
Roll
leave
a
me?
deception check.
All right. Please,
Just
please,
deception.
All things holy.
Okay.
Give us a good roll for once. Deception.
Did you
I'm
use
good-
all your good
I-
rolls in Deception Zero?
I have good deception.
Okay. 14. Yeah. It's like,
Okay.
do I know you? Have we met before?
Well, I'm not going to pretend I'm not hurt by that, but I know you from college, Benny. Police school. I dropped out really early on, maybe the first or
Police
second. I couldn't
school.
hack it, you know. Handcuffs just not my thing. Maybe for the bedroom, but not in the sticks, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, is that you, hey? Is that you, guys?
It's about time you... Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, that's why you look so familiar to me. I see.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
I was wondering, there was some air about you. Something that was a little bit spicy. Alright, that's what it was.
I always knew you were going to do well. I'm about to see you here glowing like this in a role of power. Well, I just want to say, I'm very proud of you.
Oh, hey. And I'm proud of you. You're actually out here to tackle the Rattata case as we speak.
I do my bit.
I mean, I look at Rye and I say underneath my breath,
You got off the ship with him. Is he a criminal? Did you see criminal activity happening?
And then I was right back to Charlie. I'm not so sure, but he gave me a handkerchief. I think he's a good man.
I don't know. Handkerchiefs? A lot of criminals have handkerchiefs.
I don't know, but he helped me. Oh, he's the first person I saw. I think he's a good man.
You think he's a good man? Okay, I trust you.
Okay,
You're the only one who hasn't been mean to me.
I think he's a good man.
Okay. And they were talking about just catching up, doing their old BS, this garbage at that point. And then finally Leonardo comes in. Do you have any information about the Dirk? Is this your friend here, Hank?
Yes, sorry, I spaced out for a moment.
I got a little spacious there. You're always a little spacious there, Hank.
No, just thinking about our old college times. Yes, I'm here to help Leonardo over here. He's got a great thing going on with this
No.
girl, Caterpie. That's her name, Jasmine. I'm terrible with names. Yeah, we want to
No,
talk about this
he's
Rattata
sorry.
problem. So if you've got any info, that would be
If
great.
somebody doesn't want
Oh, I
to give
see.
up, I'm with you.
Well, we have tracked them down because they have been stealing our police supplies, Poké Center supplies, all sorts of supplies, lives, people, eating them alive. You know, they're not generally nice people, so, you know, if you're here to tackle the case, Hank, I know you're always a good man back at the police academy. Bless your heart, man. I knew you. You always were a good soul.
Thank you. That means a lot coming from somebody in a position of great
The
stature.
Squirtle guard comes back, by the way, and he's like, sir, not now. I'm speaking to my old comrade, Hank. Don't worry about that. He's like, but sir, I said not now. Alright. Anyway, yeah, if you could go tackle that here, I will mark
Trust me, that ain't
this
bad.
location around here, and he will tell you. It's just outside of the woods. You head straight there. They typically leave a little bit of a trail, unfortunately, of berries and other goods there. They're not too terribly hard to find, but they do try to cover up their tracks every once in a while. So, You know, they do burrow underground, change their dens from time to time, but I'm certain with your keen observation skills, Hank, you got this.
Thank you very much for all the info. Just one quick thing as well, buddy, old pal of mine. Do you have any items? Anything you could give us?
I don't see this one's free shit.
Handcuffs. Yes, any
A gun?
Discount.
A gun?
You guys have guns.
Can you guys even use guns? I don't think any of you...
Well, I don't have any hands, so it's going to be a problem.
Rai has hands.
You can trust me.
You're absolutely Pokemons. You got things that are better than guns. Your actual selves. You're telling me you guys aren't equipped for the job? Wait, hey, are these people officers too?
This is exactly why this guy's police chief over here rousing speeches like this. Thank you, I'm out. Let's go kill Ratatas. Ooh.
Officer, are you sure I can handle a gun?
She can handle a gun. I'm going to use bardic inspiration to say that she can handle a gun.
Okay, roll a persuasion check.
I assume Rai rolls persuasion.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm assisting it.
Okay, so and with advantage.
Oh.
With advantage. So another one.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
roll
Oh,
again.
okay.
Yeah, roll again.
Nah, well,
Wow, okay. Well, actually, would it be 17?
It would have been 17.
17
Yeah,
still good enough. Okay. Well, I do happen to have a few spare, at least, potions I can, no armaments that I can give to people that are not officers of the law, at least that I don't know. That would just be not right. So, he's going to hand you 2 potions to go along.
Very poggers of you. Very poggers.
Okay.
I look over at Charlie, I'm like, I'm winking.
And if you do happen to take out this threat, Dirk does have a bounty on his head, so if you want to take care of him, claim his bounty, I would be right happy.
Oh, wait, you didn't say this. Holy moly, I need money.
Hans is in on it now.
I turned to Leonardo and Jasmine. I'm like, you guys just said we would get money from this. We would have there would have been no hesitation. We would have been straight down here. I haven't eaten in 3 days.
Do I need a muscle bin?
I traded my only money for a handkerchief that I'm now quickly realizing was from this free.
You see Officer Benny just like, oh, I'm so sorry. And he hands you like one of his donuts.
Thank you so much. I start like actually tearing up as I grab the donut.
I look envious at you and be like, are there more?
When I bring up part of my donuts and hand it to Amber, if I see her looking envious.
We don't have any takes here, drain
That's apparently all it takes. She hated me before.
That's surprising.
Well, it seems you got yourself a good mercenary crew here, Hank. I do believe that everything's in order now. You're ready to do it. I can't provide any more assistance, unfortunately, with the riots going on lately between everything. But if you do this, he's looking at Leonardo and Jasmine. Are you sure that they're
please let me lay with Wiggly. Wiggly, no.
Be honest, officer.
Yes.
If you could arrest them under some false charges and keep them in overnight, that would be great.
No. We need them there, because the whole point of this mission is to show that Caterpies and Weedles can work together to kill a bigger foe. If we just do it ourselves, it won't solve anything. So they have to be there. Otherwise, it just falls through.
This is why this man's their brains.
Yes, I will do what I can. I'm mixing up my accent. It's hard to do it like that kind of thing. Yeah.
You understand the pain.
Yeah, it's hard doing that. I will do my best. I will do it. All right. This place definitely needs some work. All right, I'll believe in you, Hank. And since it's you, Hank, my old police pal, I believe you can do it.
He got me, dude.
That means the world to me. You keep doing a great job over here. Make sure those riots are they're not rioting.
Yeah, speaking of which, he goes towards the Kakuna again. All right, time to take care of this.
Okay, let's get the fuck out of here.
And the squirrel is just like,
Get out of here now that you're done, please.
he's like trying to go, all right, 1 second, I'll be with you. All right, so you guys obviously bail out of there.
Yeah.
Like, how far are you going out of there? Are you sticking around, or are you...
We're going on the mission.
Okay, so...
We run all the way. You just...
Okay,
Yeah, we're like...
Alright, so you're heading off into the force marked by Officer Benny.
He took our car. The sad part is he needs
to
it.
make a perception check for me, whoever is in the lead. Who's leading the charge?
I'm in the skies.
Okay, so you're above the treetops, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can roll one, and who's on the ground? Who's taking the charge to the front?
13.
Okay. And if you guys want to look in the ground, who's leading?
Yeah.
I'm looking around, but not leading.
Yeah, I'm not leading either.
Okay.
I'll roll in.
All right, go.
Guy will roll, and it's just normal.
Normal perception.
Perception. There we go.
Cute charm.
Okay, that's good enough. All right.
Oh my
You
gosh,
see
bro.
off to the side, 3 Raticates.
I thought I would be
scurrying
overprotected.
along.
I thought I'd be protected and
Scrolling
overwhelmed.
across, and there seems to be
Wiggle.
no clothing on them.
I'm decent.
And they also have a bunch of stuff in their mouth as they're scurrying away towards them.
We can interrogate one of them.
We can take the belongings.
No.
We can kill them.
Would we want to follow them back to?
Oh, you know what? That makes a lot of sense.
Oh, you're right.
Oh.
Quiet. Got a nose for these things.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you are an ex-criminal / an ex-police officer.
So we need to be quiet?
All right,
have a
so
gun now.
it's you guys you're gonna be trying to stealth and follow these group of Rattatas, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you ready for stealth?
Alright, so I need everyone to roll a stealth check, and also Jasmine, and also I will roll
Jesus,
a
guys,
stealth
I
check.
juked them so hard.
So,
Oh no.
I was like, oh crap, here's me the sword,
Okay.
kick off his head.
20
XP
is pretty
for the
good, though.
berries?
That's enough to
Was
come
it
for
enough?
one bad roll. Okay, they're terrible. I'm sorry.
No.
Alright, so unfortunately your tag-alongs make some rustlings, and you notice that the Rattatas who were, they're going at a decent pace, they notice and they hear the crinkle of one of you guys stepping on a branch, and they start taking off. They start dashing even faster. So, are you guys going to pursue now? Or are
We're
you
gonna go. We're gonna dash.
Yeah, we gotta go. We gotta follow.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so you're full sprinting in there
Yeah.
after them. Okay.
We'll send it.
All right, very good. So I'm going to need the person in the charge to do a survival check. If Rusted, if you're in the sky,
That was
you also
perfect.
need to do a survival check.
I saw them, I was like, I don't want them to get the berry.
It depends
I
on
saw
what
it
your
was
nature's
low.
knowledge. Survival is general.
Survival.
That's why you
I
gotta
say
use
survival.
vision.
Yeah, survival.
16.
Okay, yeah. That's good enough, honestly. That's good enough. The Chatot, he's beautifully telling where they're going. The eye in the sky, keeping tabs. You guys can see him up in the sky. Easily, your eagle eye vision.
I can't
He's
believe he
following after
united
these
them. That
Rattatas.
was crazy.
And they lead you
Wasn't
into this
Dragonite there? What
large
happened?
looking, well, not very too large, but a medium-sized cave with a hole in the center. And the Rattatas, they're like, they're after us, mate! They're after us! And they rush inside, and you see like these Rattatas on guard. Like 2 more rush out, and you're gonna see like at least 3 Rattatas outside, point guard, looking around, trying to see what's coming and approaching. As you guys pull up.
So there's 3 Rattatas.
Yes, all grouped up right at the start of the cave entrance.
So
Okay, so they're in this cave.
Wait, so there were 2, were there 3
There was 3,
Eradicates
and then they rush past. 2 rush past the other guards. So there's 2 that went inside the cave, and there's 3 outside now.
That's the good part about having a Dragonite. You can do stuff like that.
They're going to alert people that were coming, so this is
Okay,
going to
the
be difficult.
Pikachu's going for that.
Good news for us. We know where they are.
I might help. I might kick some
All
fireballs.
right,
there.
are we attacking?
Might
Convicting?
be. That'd be a good idea now that we know where it is to come back later.
Guys, I have a
When
gun.
they're
It's okay.
not on high alert.
Yes, done. Just
No. If they know that they're under threat, they're going to start building up defenses. If we come back later, they might have barricades and shit. I mean, up
Okay.
until this point, their only threat has been Weedles and Canopies. Now they see not Weedles and Canopies, they might actually put some effort in.
But
Yeah, Mike, that's
I
nice,
can talk to them.
have they actually seen us? That all they heard was a rustle.
Not
They
yet,
didn't
but
actually
you
see us.
guys are stealthing now? Did you guys stop and went ready to go?
I would suggest we stop to have a conversation.
Okay, so you stopped to have a conversation. Okay, so if you're, I need another stealth check then if you guys are talking outside. Because they were on high alert.
Yikes.
Okay, maybe a natural 20 could save it, or a brute. Okay.
1 second.
I've got a bonus
Of 3, so that's why it's 5. They're not 2.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no.
So the clap of my ass cheeks.
Yeah, they hear the clap of your ass cheeks a little bit. I'm sorry. They hear the talking going on.
I thought we just got a bunch of kills.
And they just start rushing towards you. I need you guys now to roll initiative because they are not either. Okay, so you're facing 3 Rattatas that are charging right at you.
Oh, balls.
Alright, so the Rattatas seem to be way on the key. They were hyper alert to your situation, and they are charging directly at you. I didn't anticipate this situation, but it's just what happens in D&D, so I don't have a map for this one yet. So they're just going to charge directly at Russ is just in the sky, so they can't. They're not going to him. So I assume.
No, I'm not in the sky because I would have landed.
You landed, okay.
Yeah.
So they're gonna.
They are
Want you to
united
go
at 2
for
minutes.
Guh, I should say. So this is.
How
Gonna go
did
for
you
Guh.
score?
I don't think that hits. So that doesn't hit. All right. So this next one is going to go to Charlie, who's on the floor.
That does just hit me.
Okay. So.
I take it.
Okay. Wow. That's the highest roll you could possibly have gotten.
Ow! That was me! It takes such pain! I've never felt this pain in my life! Holy shit! I want to go home!
Oh my god.
Charlie, no.
Charlie. And the next one is going to go towards, yeah, okay, mine.
I have a slip up.
Let's go, mine.
Does 10 hit?
Oh, they're down, bro. They're down.
Wow.
I have AC 10.
You should also. You're a warlock, right?
Yeah.
These ACs are wrong. Yours should at least
yeah.
be a little bit higher because you have leather armor, which is at least 11.
Yeah, at least 11.
So
I thought I changed it to 11.
Yeah.
yeah,
So that doesn't hit. All right. So it is now. Let's see
Level
here.
15.
We're gonna go me or Tiff first.
Whichever one.
Okay.
You have the higher dex, so.
Okay, so I'll go first.
Yeah.
So as I'm on the ground in pain, I'm gonna go.
Guys, don't worry! I have a plan!
And I'm gonna sing a lovely sleep song.
Oh.
I'm
Okay.
gonna cast. I think I've named it Roost,
Okay.
Yes, you did.
but
So go ahead and roll how many.
well, 23. So that's the total amount of hit points.
Yep.
So
They
it's
are
around
all asleep. You
So
roll.
I think-
They are all asleep. Their eyes slowly drift and they're like.
The chat out easy sling.
What is this melody? It hurts my head. And they just go all down. Just right on the floor. They are not dead, but they are
Nice.
unconscious, and you guys can get a complete surprise. You do whatever you want to them now.
Whoa.
Okay, guys. So it's up to you guys. We can just leave these guys, or you can fuck them up.
I think we
They'll
pile
come back
up.
for us later, right?
Yeah, they're going to come back for us. So I say we pile all their bodies
Right.
in a little roll and you burn them. Just set them on
Yes.
fire.
I'm ready.
I'm changing the name of this.
Busted.
A
64K.
little bit. Okay, yeah, that's a little better. I like that.
I'm ready to
Right.
set these guys on fire.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, that's
Right.
Leonardo is like, they are nothing but scum. They have claimed many lives. I do not care what you do to them.
Wait. I put one wing up. Right. One of those potions, please.
Yeah, you
Right.
did get potions.
Well, Rai has them. She
Yeah.
has both. That's
Yeah,
why I'm
yeah.
asking her.
You gonna
Side
get
up?
Right here. Take it. It's for you.
Thank you.
So it's just a normal healing potion. So you know what that is. A 2d4 plus 2.
4 plus. Yeah.
Oh, I can use
So
flamethrower
that's
Jordan.
one.
I'm back, baby.
You are
Oh,
back.
wow.
Yeah.
My
Alright.
friend, you're back.
And as you guys are discussing what to do, Jasmine
Right.
goes, I have a more peaceful solution. And she web shoots them all and ties them up for you.
Oh.
Oh.
Now I can see why he wants a piece of you. That's good.
And Leonardo's just like, yes, she is a wonderful woman.
Oh,
Just
God.
fine. And he gets more defense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Looks like you did the defense girl.
Yeah.
Defense girl.
Defense guy. Yes. So now we do have a little bit of a problem. They are expecting us on the inside.
but they don't know our capabilities.
Oh
Albert,
God!
what's the biggest fire thing that you can do?
Biggest fire thing.
Hold on a second. Your webs, little Miss Juliet over there.
Jasmine.
What are they doing?
Yasmin, are your webs sticky? Would they hold a ratata in place?
Yes, I can. I am capable of holding one in place at a time. Yes.
One in place is no good to me. Because I was thinking,
Says
look, lover boy, we're trying to come up with a plan. I was thinking that maybe you could web up the entrance, and then as they came, they got stuck to it, and then we would just blast them.
I don't think they're coming out. I think they're staying in. They're defensive, not offensive.
Yes, they are very defensive.
Where's my talent
Prefer
for
to
you?
run away rather than attack.
Well,
Yeah,
let's
he's
just
going
go in.
slow, bro. We need more attackers.
I can go in first with my gun and I can confuse them.
Did you get a gun?
He did not give you a gun.
Holy shit!
He did not give you a gun.
Aww.
You do have your
Yeah,
spells,
so give a
though.
gun.
I was gonna say, why don't you use your moves? You're a
That's what you
psycho.
wanted to do at the
No,
police.
no,
But that would
sorry
require
about that.
different things entirely.
I can confuse them.
Okay.
Well, what have we got? What abilities we could go. What we could? How big is this? We don't know how big the cave is. I was thinking that maybe Charlie could fly in ahead, carrying Jasmine, and she could just web City. And as they're getting confused
One
with
at a
that,
time. He did one at a time. She said one at a time. I think.
I'm not saying hold them in place. I'm just saying confusion tactics.
I think I might die if I were to do that.
That's a price we might have to pay.
I don't know if I feel comfortable going in by myself. And Lena, I would never. I would go in by myself.
I think you could achieve the same effect by just firing a nice firebolt into the
I
wall or
have-
something.
I have a firebolt. I also have a burning tail that can make it like a 15-foot cone.
You're using maths on me. I never got it forward.
No, he got it.
I don't know what feet measurements.
I don't know what feet is either.
I don't know code. What? I don't know what that means.
Well,
I just know that it's like ice cream. That I describe an ice cream for you.
Right. So it's like a fire ice cream. You can do fire ice cream.
Fire ice cream.
Ice cream.
All right. Well, it sounds like we have a plan.
fire ice
cream. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's load up the Vulpix and let her loose.
Oh
Okay.
wait, 1 second. Wait. So I need to go first.
I mean,
That's up to you guys.
I'll go first. I've got the.
Wait,
the bro.
I don't get another
I couldn't
marching order.
score.
I put a good winner. I actually do have a good idea. Predators are their normal type, right? You're fighting type, right? You're fighting type.
No,
move.
it's just water.
No,
But you must have a fighting type move, right?
No, I've got pound and water gun.
Well, fuck that then. Fuck my idea. Let's just go.
As soon as I get fists, I'm unleashing these bastards.
Okay, well, yeah.
Until I crawl out of the muddy swamps and evolve as an amphibian, but kind of just traveling on land.
Alright, so you guys...
I would suggest I went first, yeah.
Okay. So the marching order is going to be...
Dude, the cram CC's me to infinity, dude. Dude,
so
cram's
that's
not
the Vulpix
bad.
and-
Like, it's just, yeah, it's just a meta
Please, let me
problem.
go last.
Okay, last, okay. Sure.
I will go third.
Okay, I can go next. Second.
Yeah.
And, okay, so, and then the Weedle and Caterpie will be in between, I guess, Sif and who's ever the one that's after that. Okay.
I'm gonna score it.
Okay, very good. So, you notice as you guys venture...
Oh, I almost got him.
No. Everyone went first.
I did
right?
get him.
Before me.
Yeah.
So, right before we enter the cave area, I just waited a bit before everyone has entered the cave.
Okay.
Then I took over at the bound of Ratatas and I started a bonfire under them.
Okay, go ahead and use your spell then.
Yeah.
Go ahead. It is a surprise round and they can't dodge it, so I mean,
So,
they're bound, they're webbed, they're just gonna be set on fire.
And asleep.
And it might even just take 4 damage.
Dude, they got the dreadnought.
How much damage does that do? Show me what that does.
It's a dude does a fire 1d8.
1d8?
But it's like a
Did it
campfire.
work?
It is a campfire, and they're going to be trapped there and unable to move.
So they're just gonna die.
They're
There's
just
no
dead.
way they're
Yeah,
gonna
they're just
die.
dead. They're just
It's
dead.
kind of warm in here, you guys.
Create a bonfire and slowly roast them.
Wait, did it work?
There we go, murder. The
Okay.
first murder of the game.
The first murder. Okay,
It
they're
really,
dead.
it really doesn't matter what you roll damage wise.
Oh,
because
yeah.
They're gonna take.
They're just dead.
This is gonna keep.
Yeah, they're just dead. Okay. Very good. Was that a spell, though? Or
No,
was
that's a
cantrip?
cantrip.
That's a
That's a
cantrip.
cantrip.
Okay, they're just dead.
Does,
Very good.
No problem there.
does anyone
Did
else
you guys
smell
notice?
This guy.
You guys want to
Smell
notice?
the
I assume we don't notice. It's part of the cave.
Okay, very good. As you guys enter the cave, you will notice that it is completely almost pitch black in there, and you cannot see anything.
Guys, it's pitch black in here, but I can't see anything.
Amber, help.
I have,
Oh, yeah. What can I do? Again, I have the. I can make the light.
Okay. Yeah, you can. And how do you want to make that light? Is it like from your tails, or do you have like spires, or is it just?
Oh yeah, it's my tail.
Your tails, okay. So, you activate your little Vulpix ability to just make light wherever you are.
Yes,
You're able to
flash fire.
see in bright light within a 30-foot radius and dim light 60-foot radius. Which just happens. So at least now you guys can see what's in front of you, and you notice that
Oh my
there is just one big path which you guys can go down. That's got about at least a 10-foot ceiling. Not
I died?
terribly tall.
How?
But
Wow.
it is one major path,
Yes.
but there is tiny holes that kind of go.
Dude, we should have
everywhere.
went top a
They're
long
about
time ago.
rat
They're
size.
holding it too.
That kind of go.
I have a
about
question.
We
everywhere.
just can't
Yeah.
score.
It's 10 feet along.
Now we're winning. Sorry.
Not
Hi,
really.
European.
no.
No,
Okay.
it's not that big.
Oh,
It's
okay.
about 3 meters.
Oh, okay.
But double
It's
your.
still a bit tall for a Pokemon.
It's like, it's not bad. It's not bad. But as you do go down, it does narrow down to about like 7 feet. As you guys are, I assume, are you guys just going straight down there?
I should have attacked them, I
Yeah.
guess.
Okay.
Like, I didn't do any damage to
I'm
him.
gonna
It's just like,
need
I'm just scared to
you
engage
two
on
in the back
myself. I
to make a
don't win.
perception roll. So,
He's level
Which is
12.
me and Amber.
yep.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Yeah.
1 second.
5. I'm. Ow! I can't see.
Okay, that's good enough. All right.
No.
Nice.
So, what you do notice, you hear something coming out from one of the caves, a little scrattle, a scribble or something, and 2 Rattatas dart out from one of the small little caves on the inside, and they start going in for like a little hit and run. Anything you want to do?
Wait. Well, I mean, I don't see him, but
Yeah, you don't see them, but only Sif does, how she wants to communicate there. They're going in for an attack.
I shoot I want to shoot them in the face.
Okay, I will allow that. I will allow that.
I can.
Yep,
Then I'm
yes,
gonna
you
fire
can,
both
and then they're
them.
gonna
Yeah.
attack. They're gonna attack you afterwards.
Oh,
And the
I'm
thing
okay.
is, they saw me too, so they know,
Okay.
like, I was there.
Oh, 19. Okay, yeah, that hits.
Ooh.
Go ahead, roll damage.
Yeah. Nice.
7's good.
Wow, holy shit. Okay, you instantly. Actually, how do you want to kill one? Go ahead, describe how you get one. Or if you want to non-lethal. But I assume you're lethal now.
Well, yeah. No, I am definitely going to lethal. I'm like, oh, that ugly fucking rat.
Oh, we need
Okay.
Look at him with I stare at him with my eyes burning, and I shoot the fireball at him and watch him scream in pain
Yeah,
as he dies.
he's alerted now, and that alerts Rustage, fortunately, to the presence, so it's not going to be a surprise for him anymore.
Holy shit!
Oh,
And he
no!
sees a Rattata coming directly
Oh.
at him now. So I will allow you to react before he hits you.
Can I fly up and just peck the fucker?
Of course, go ahead, roll your attack.
That's what I'm gonna do.
You got
I said
That hits. That hits.
Ooh.
5.
5. Alright, so you peck him, and you just get him right in his noggin, and he like reels away, he's like, ah! Oh.
Damn it,
And then he he looks at you and he's still there. He's bleeding a little bit, and he's gonna throw a rock at you since you are flying.
Fucking rock!
Yeah, you're in a cage. He's got a rock in his tail. He's gonna throw a rock at you.
Damn.
Oh, he can't actually hit you. Never mind. He doesn't have one. He doesn't have one. You did a smart move, mister.
We had numbers.
Okay, so he's gonna go for a sip instead.
But no, they just pulled back.
Alright, he's gonna roll.
Dude, when you're Hoopa Unbound, you have to step in.
You hit him so hard
He's in
that
retreat.
he's just like disoriented, and he
You always
bites
step in,
himself in his leg, and he passes out.
Yeah.
What a move. It's about time we got some
Good
rolls.
job, Charlie.
My blood is pumping. Is this what violence is like?
It doesn't feel good.
How does it feel?
Oh, kind of good. Amber, is this what you do on the regular?
Yes.
Yes. Wait, hold up. I go to right. Wait, is Amber the criminal?
See, look, we weren't far behind at all. You see, we just had to get it together and push. That's why I didn't want to quit. We were literally one score down and some change. But like, I could have easily got some change. Like, we were literally one score down. Like, look at this. Look, what can you do with these people?
I will try my best.
Like, do you learn a lesson from this?
I go over to Jasmine, wrap my tail around her, and ask
Oh
her if
my
she's okay. You're okay,
goodness.
cutie.
Like, we were never far behind, and I knew that. That's why I was like, no, keep fighting, bro. Just score some points. Oh my gosh, I had 44 points.
You guys are going to continue towards the end of the game.
I only had one kill? That's not right.
Yeah.
33
Are you
damage.
able to just fire one of your fire shots into one of these holes and like flush out all of the rats?
But, I don't know.
Oh.
was better than it
probably.
was. It
If
was
I could
close.
try. You want me to try?
We could have won that if our team had to
Oh,
What's the worst? What's the worst that could happen?
Damn, I'm starting to like this guy a lot.
I would
Damn, everything's getting better and better.
Okay.
This man said a taste for violence. I would like to prepare an attack, please.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, yeah, I would like to prepare an attack in case we get attacked.
Oh,
Of course. Okay. So,
Sorry, I corrupted your character, Rusted.
Alright, so you're going to go to a random hole. I need you to roll with disadvantage. Fire attack.
D&D mind break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
D&D
Ooh.
NTR out here.
Here's the
that's
thing with this thing. You know, I kind of wanted it to be serious. It became white noise. I don't need white noise. I could have commentated, but like, I'm also just chilling. I'm just playing. This is what I do, man. Nobody's listening. It doesn't really matter. That's the best part about it. That's the best part about it. Can I play Sunday? Sunday. Let's see. The Sunday fit. We have a Blissey. That's good. That's not Sunday. We have a Blissey. That's good. Crayon. That's a lot of attackers. Oh, we'll get weird. I'll play Mario. Right. Thinking about putting it on the experience share. The problem with XP share is you only need one good player. What if you are the one good player? You know what I'm saying? If that's the case, I'd much rather have choice specs. Let's see if I can find some serious Dungeon Dragons. I'm trying to get into some lore, you feel me? Like a good story. Damn, how do I support a Crammer? Nah, the Crammer supports me. Watch this. This is a nice little world, I'm not gonna lie. And watching it on a projector, because I'm watching it on a projector now, it's really nice. Okay, get over there. Dummy. I'm gonna take my farm. You may take my farm. Oh, he hit me. I'm dead, by the way. I'm alive! I'm so alive! Oh my god, I'm alive. I just like the idea. These. I got it. Did I get that? That was like the last possible frame to get that. Alright, we gotta set up a defense. There it is. There it is. Oh, this is action. I need a stack. Sorry, I'm not entering on it. Dang, I did it way too early. I'm mentioning. I'm wasting time. No retreat. Oh yes, he has eject. Okay, eject cram. Not that pesky X attack cram. No, pesky quick attack cram. Stubborn X attack cram. This dude's level 7. Wow, he's my hero. This dude's gonna lead us to victory for sure. Hidden boss, hidden boss. Hey, buddy.
Following results for Hey Buddy.
What the? Pesky cram. Pesky cram. Gotta heal. I don't even go for middle crabs anymore. I go to someone else. Wow, how do we get it? Hey, I get middle crabs. Oh. I messed up my headphones. Feels like they're broken forever. He's level 10. Wow. Damn, can we kill them? Why do I have red buff? You chunky. How did we miss it? We set up an entire barrier and had Cram unite on it, and he just shot through it. That's insane. barrier needs a buff. You should be able to block that. How crazy would that be? Alright, we gotta rotate. They can have fun. Oh my god, they're so far behind. Come on, come on, come on. They got it. They are so good. Where is he gonna retreat to? No, they're doing fine, dude. Or is it just really low? Oh no, I turned the music off. This is what it sounds like. Oh man. I'm over here breaking my freaking controller. My more broken than the headphone jack already is. Oh, I might be late. Ooh, I didn't realize how late it was. We stayed down there the whole time. It's hard. It's hard. That's it. They can't get it. The final stretch. We can do it. No! How do you get so much health? Oh! Dang, and they're scoring on us? That's crazy. That's because instead of playing, he's quitting. I don't care. Do what y'all want. Y'all suck. Why do people quit? Man, that's so sad. Where's he gonna go? He went down. The whole point of the energy amp unite is to stop. So like if we don't do anything, we're kind of just sitting around. We're kind of just sitting around. You lose. Wow, they all got the little thing. They all bought their gear, and they suck. Who got MVP? Disgusting. Actually, no, Lucario was going nuts. That's the only reason we had a chance to win. That's why I was like, oh, I needed to rotate it with him. I should have been with him a long time ago. The current Morant just never went in with me. I was like, come on, dude, we have to go score. He was just like, oh, let's just sit around. Let's just sit on base the whole time. They're just dogging us. They're like, dog, dog, dog. Dog, 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 dog. Alright, what's up, dog? Hey, buddy, dog. We're gonna listen to some boxing. Y'all like boxing, right? Let's see, there was a guy in my watch later. Boxing, boxing, boxing. History, watch later. Boxing. Oh my gosh, why do they hate me, bro? They hate me. Watch later. They hated him first. Who was him? God. No, it was definitely a boxing documentary. There ain't no equal. No boxing. It's the same thing. Temple. Boxing. Pottery. Oh man. It wasn't Lori's corner though. It was something. It was something else. Damn. Oxen. Lemmies. Oh man, I'll never find it. Rami's corner. Rami's corner.
This
Sugar Ray, Floyd Patterson, George Foreman, Paul Fields, Aaron Salvador. These are my boxing.
This is Rummy's Corner.
Rummy's Corner.
So this episode is inspired by a similar episode I did on Floyd Mayweather Jr., which itself was inspired by the first complete championship profile on Floyd. I will not be doing a complete championship profile for Riddick Bowe, but I will be discussing all of those fights here. Bowe's final championship record was really 3-1 in major championship fights. If you include his WBO reign, and the WBO wasn't really considered a major world title at this time, then his final championship ledger consisted of 6 contests, with 5 victories, 1 defeat, 0 draws, and 4 of those 5 victories coming by knockout. Bowe's overall record included 45 contests with 43 victories, 1 defeat, 0 draws, 1 no contest, and 33 of those 43 wins coming by way of knockout. When it comes to Bowe's reputation, there are basically 2 main schools of thought. Bowe's biggest advocates tend to believe that Bowe was a top 10 talent who never fulfilled his potential. And Bowe's biggest detractors tend to believe that he wasn't as good as advertised, and that his entire career was built off winning the Holyfield trilogy. Many among his critics love pointing out the fact that Bowe dumped the WBC belt into a garbage bin when negotiations broke down for a would-be mega-bout showdown against Lennox Lewis. Another criticism against Bowe is that he lacked discipline, and this cost him in terms of longevity. But the main criticism against Bowe is that his resume was thin beyond the epic trilogy with Holyfield. So what is the truth about Riddick Bowe? I honestly think it's a little from column A and a little from column B. I followed most of the important parts of Bowe's career as they were happening. I watched him fight a couple of times before getting a title shot, and remember he was a highly rated talent with a good amateur background and high expectations. But at that time, it was still widely believed that Mike Tyson was the greatest heavyweight, even though he was not actively competing at that time because of his prison sentence. But even still, that first Holyfield Bowe fight was something truly magical. I didn't see that fight live. I actually saw it for the first time later that week when my high school marine biology teacher played it for us in class. To this day, I have no idea what the first Holyfield Bowe fight had to do with marine biology, but it was better than doing work, and it was just an absolutely incredibly fascinating encounter that was filled with drama. So my perspective on Bowe, at his best, I think he was damn good, but his critics do have valid points. There was a lot of great talent competing in that 1990s heavyweight division, and the only truly elite boxer he defeated was Evander Real Deal Holyfield, which, I must add, is no small feat. Getting the best of the Real Deal in an era-defining tremendous trilogy is nothing to gloss over. It's a mighty impressive accolade for one's resume, but his 2 title defenses, the first against former
and I'm here for bees. Where are y'all?
Michael Oates, and the other against Jesse the Boogeyman Ferguson, those title defenses leave something to be desired in terms of a lasting legacy during the long, rich history of heavyweight boxing. But in fairness to Bo, one thing that often gets forgotten is that Bo was supposed to face then highly rated contender Merciless Ray Mercer. The same night Bo made his first title defense against Dokes, Mercer was featured on the undercard in what was viewed as a tune-up fight against Jesse Ferguson. That was the fight where Mercer was charged with offering Ferguson a mid-fight bribe. Mercer was ultimately found not guilty on the charge of sports bribery, but he lost the fight. So instead of getting a big-time showdown between Bo and Mercer, the Boogeyman wound up getting the title shot instead. And then, of course, Bo lost the title when he dropped a razor-thin majority decision in his rematch with Holyfield. And in the 2 WBO title fights, Herbie Hyde and Jorge Gonzalez were 2 undefeated boxers
who really want to score.
top 10 guys at that time. And Bo fought some other talented boxers when he wasn't competing for a championship. Big Daddy defeated former WBA champion Tony Tubbs. He defeated future WBA champion Bruce Seldon. He beat former WBC champion Caitlin Thomas, and he beat undefeated contenders like Larry Donald and Andrew Galata. So it's true, Bo doesn't have any elite level wins outside of Holyfield, but he still has a solid body of work in the grand scheme of things. However, with so much quality during the 1990s landscape, for Bo's detractors, it's more about the elite level fights that didn't happen. He never faced Iron Mike Tyson, and more importantly, he never faced Lennox Lewis. And there are a lot of other very good names from that time that just aren't there for Big Daddy. The Lennox example is the best known. According to his detractors, Bo dropping the WBC belt in the garbage bin was an act of cowardice. A cowardly act that proves Bo never wanted to face Lewis as a professional. And it's not just Bo detractors who are persuaded to believe this. It's one of those things that's been repeated so often for so long that it's almost become an accepted fact among most online boxing fans. I've seen this type of thing being posted dating back at least to the late 90s. Bo was afraid to face Lennox Lewis, so he threw his belt away rather than face him. But is it really true? Full disclosure, I was born and raised in the United States, so my experiences as a boxing fan came directly from American television and American newspapers and magazines, where the narrative was shaped by Americans, from an American perspective, for an American audience. Make of that what you will. Lewis defeated Bo for the gold medal at the 1988 Olympics. A lot of observers, especially Americans, viewed the stoppage as premature. This in part may have had a lot to do with the fact that Roy Jones Jr. had also lost in that same Olympics, in a bout that was not just controversial but even scandalous. Bo had a solid opening round in that fight, and then Lewis came on really strong in round 2 before the fight was stopped. With the somewhat controversial nature of the stoppage, the pieces were in place for what could have made an epic rivalry in the professional ranks. After Bo defeated Holyfield to become the undisputed champion, Bo did some verbal sparring with Lewis right after his post-fight interview. The table is set, and with their Olympic history, this mini altercation, and the fact that we had 2 elite, undefeated young heavyweights, Hollywood couldn't have written a better pre-fight
now they united like we might have a chance to get this.
The common narrative I frequently see cited is that Bo never had any intention of facing Lennox. So Bo's team made Lewis's camp a lowball offer that they were obviously going to reject. And then Bo dumped the belt into a trash bin. That's the common narrative. That's the reality among a great number of boxing fans. But again, Is it true? In order to try and gain some perspective, according to BoxRec, when Bo challenged Holyfield for the undisputed heavyweight championship, Holyfield was guaranteed $5 million and Bo was guaranteed $3 million. With their percentage of revenues, Holyfield earned around $17 million and Bo made $5.5 million. A little further down on the same BoxRec entry, it reads, the WBC gave Bo and Lewis until December 13th to reach an agreement or the fight would go to purse bid. If Bo refused to meet Lewis, the WBC would be awarded to Lewis. Rock Newman, Bo's manager, made 2 offers to Lewis. The first would have guaranteed Lewis $3 million while giving Bo 90% of the purse and Lewis 10%. The second offer was for Lewis to refuse the WBC title, have an interim fight in the United States for $2.5 million, and then fight Bo for $9 million or a percentage to be negotiated. Frank Maloney, the manager of Lewis, rejected both offers and countered with his own proposal, a 75-25% split of the purse. Newman turned it down. Maloney later had a change of heart and agreed to this offer, but Newman told him it was too late. That entry probably added fuel to the common belief that Bo wanted nothing to do with Lennox. A 90-10 split? A lot of people believe that, along with throwing the belt into a garbage can. That's all the proof you need that Bo ducked Lewis. So Bo was stripped of the WBC belt on December 14th, 1992, and the belt was awarded to Lennox Lewis. But it's important to note here, the offer Team Lewis rejected before having a change of heart, that was a $3 million guarantee, which was the exact same guaranteed purse Bo himself received when he challenged Holyfield. And then a few days later, Bo signed a 6-fight deal for a then-record $100 million with HBO, with the stipulation that if Bo lost within his first 5 fights, the deal was over. But none of this is ever usually factored into consideration. Then we have the fact that late-great Hall of Fame boxing trainer Emanuel Stewart has gone on record saying this.
I was with Eddie Futcher, and Eddie Futcher, that was the decision that he made. He felt that good as Bo was, he still felt that Lennox was still mentally and physically too strong. And if they had a fault, then what happened in the 88 Olympics would have happened in the professional fight. That Lennox was just still with an overpowered Bo at a certain point. So it was his recommendation that Bo give up the title rather than fight Lennox.
This all sounds like pretty damning evidence against Riddick Big Daddy Bo. I have no doubt, none whatsoever, that Futch and Stewart had this talk and that Stewart told it exactly like it happened. But that doesn't mean Bo wanted no part of Lewis, even if Futch didn't. And the proof comes from subsequent negotiations. Indeed, the 2 teams were negotiating after Bo made his first title defense against Dokes, after the Boogeyman had derailed plans for a Bo Mercer fight. They were looking at a fight in Vegas for June 18th, 1993.
Actually might be done for the night.
Let's check out some excerpts from an article written by Alan Goldstein in the Baltimore Sun on February 11th, 1993. Maloney was holding firm for a $10 million guarantee, a figure Newman told the New York media he had offered. But it is Duva's role as the middleman in negotiation that muddies the water. When Duva controlled undisputed heavyweight champion Evander Holyfield, he agreed to give a title shot to Bo last November with the stipulation that, if Bo won, Duva would receive 28% of his future title earnings. Newman agreed, but in negotiating with Maloney, he was trying to cut Duva out of his share, and thus the $10 million figure was misrepresented. Now, if I'm interpreting this correctly, it sounds like Newman may have been trying to pass the buck on at least part of the financial obligation to Duva. Later in the same article it says, in trying to resolve this stalemate, Newman offered several novel options to the Lewis camp. He proposed a winner-take-all contract with the loser guaranteed $1 million to cover expenses. Maloney countered with a $20 million and $6 million winner-loser split, but Newman balked. So this was the second time negotiations failed for a megabout showdown between Bo and Lewis. Then in June 1993, Newman filed a lawsuit against Duva, basically for not acting in Bo's best interests. But the saga didn't end here. Bo and Lewis agreed and signed to fight in a bout that was tentatively scheduled to take place place in March or April of 1995. In a New York Times article on June 18, 1994, Gerald Eskenazi wrote, Newman claimed that this would be the biggest grossing fight in history, with Lewis earning $18 million to Bo's $13 million. They would be fighting for the very same WBC title Bo threw in the garbage. But of course, McCall derailed those best-laid plans when he scored a shocking upset and knocked Lennox out in the second round. So this was the third time that these two had negotiated for a fight, and this time the fight was actually signed. Still the saga continued. And amazingly, it was Iron Mike Tyson who provided the incentive for this. A lot of fans are aware of the fact that after Mike Tyson defeated Frank Bruno to regain the WBC belt, Tyson paid $4 million to his #1 mandatory Lennox Lewis to step aside so he could pursue another fight, citing he wasn't ready for Lewis. Tyson then faced WBA champion Bruce Seldon. But what a lot of people might not realize about this was a part of that deal included a long-awaited showdown between Bo and Lewis. On May 17, 1996, a New York Times article by Gerald Eskenazi noted, so Tyson settled with Lewis to step aside. As a part of that deal, Lewis will be permitted to an interim fight, the September bout with Bo, and Tyson could go on to fight for the IBF title. So Mike Tyson was on a quest to regain all of the championship belts that once belonged to him. But before this agreed-upon interim fight between Bo and Lewis could become a reality, Bo had an upcoming fight against undefeated contender Andrew Galata. Technically speaking, Bo defeated Galata by disqualification. But with the bizarre nature of that fight, what wound up happening is Bo wound up having a rematch with Galata in December 1996. Mike Tyson vacated the WBC belt so he could pursue a long-awaited fight against Holyfield rather than face Lennox. And Lennox never got the interim fight and instead got to fight for the vacant WBC belt against his former conqueror, Oliver McCall. Why am I going through all of this? Because unfortunately, I think this illustrates that this is how the business often works. Does any of this remind anyone of prolonged negotiations between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao? Does any of this remind anyone of the failed negotiations between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder? In the day and age of the internet and online social media, these type of business tactics are more visible than they were back then. These days you have fans arguing over purse splits as much as they argue about fights. But the real reason we never got Bo versus Lewis as professionals, well, I think this Duva quote sums up the entire ordeal perfectly. This was in the Washington Post just a few days after Bo defeated Dokes. I know Lewis wants to fight Bo, Duva said yesterday morning in Washington. I don't think for 1 minute that Bo is afraid of Lennox Lewis. It's just that people are making business decisions. I really think that sums up the entire situation. Unfortunately for us boxing fans, it just never happened. But Bo dumping the belt? I definitely don't think it was because Bo was afraid of Lewis. I actually would have favored Bo back in 1993, because Bo matured much faster in the pro ranks, and Lewis was still a little rough around the edges before his style was fine-tuned under the guidance of Emmanuel Stewart. I could be wrong, of course. I suck at making predictions. But I would have favored Bo in 92-93. I'd favor Lennox from 1996 on, and in 94-95, I still maintain it's a pick'em fight at that time, when Lennox was still improving, and Bo was already exhibiting signs of decline, largely through lack of dedication. And one final note on the garbage bin thing. At the time, I still believed this was intended as an over-the-top publicity stunt that backfired in the long run. It obviously backfired in the long run, because to this day, most people believe Bo dropped the belt because he was afraid of losing to Lennox. But at the same time, the stunt initially worked in Bo's favor. Bo was the one getting the lucrative deals, and Bo was the one doing the talk show circuits. And back then, nobody really considered Lennox as a real champion. He never won that first WBC belt inside the ring. And Bo had just dominated Evander Real Deal Holyfield in a battle for the ages. Everyone knew the lineage. Mike Tyson was the baddest man on the planet, and then he got beaten in an historical upset against Buster Douglas, who in turn was knocked out by Evander. So make no mistake, at that time, most people didn't really consider Lennox a legit champion, even though he held a legit title. Everyone knew Bo was the champion regardless of whether he had 2 belts or 3. The main criticism of Bo's detractors that I agree with is he lacked discipline and didn't stay motivated. By any measurable standard, this is objectively true. When Bo reached the pinnacle, his desire dwindled, and because of the lack of preparation and discipline, Bo's skills declined and he was not giving himself his best chance at victory or a long career. There are other great champions who have suffered this fate, this loss of hunger for success after reaching the top. So in terms of a lasting legacy, when you look at the champions who have had extremely long reigns, guys who almost always enter title defenses well prepared and motivated, Vladimir Klitschko, Joe Louis, Larry Holmes, longevity is a part of what helps define a great champion. Bo didn't have that, and it's nobody's fault but his own. His ambition simply didn't match his desire to be as well prepared as he could. Where I disagree with his critics is that all he did was
look how big the hitbox is. This is why I like Blizzard.
And that he was never anything special. Bo was special. He was a tremendous talent who displayed incredible heart and determination while in the midst of battle. This was on full display when he had his epic war against Holyfield. This was Riddick Bowe at his absolute best. And personally, I believe this was the best we ever saw from Holyfield as well, even in defeat. Holyfield was a warrior who tended to run hot and cold, and going into that Bowe fight, he was receiving a lot of criticism. He defeated an out-of-shape, unmotivated Buster Douglas to win the undisputed heavyweight crown. Then he defended against an old George Foreman, where Foreman had spots of success. Then he defended against a late replacement for a late replacement when he got up from the canvas to beat Bert Cooper. Then he defended against another older fighter in Larry Holmes, and like Foreman, the Easton Assassin was effective at times. So it was a perfect storm scenario where Holyfield had everything to prove, and because of that, he showed an overeagerness to fight Bo's fight. Now, a lot of fans might disagree with me here, but I honestly believe Holyfield was at his best this night. And short of Bo, I don't think there was another heavyweight competing who could have beaten Evander on that night. What Holyfield exhibited that night absolutely personified the idea of a warrior with an amazing heart. That famous 10th round is one of the most celebrated rounds in boxing history. After Bo won the title, he began ballooning up in weight in between fights as his celebrity status grew. He scored early knockout victories against Dokes and the Boogeyman before having the rematch with Holyfield. This time, Holyfield was extremely disciplined with a solid strategy where he stuck to the game plan. But I think Holyfield had already slowed down by this point. Neither guy was the same boxer he had been a year ago. But with the intelligent, disciplined effort, Evander edged it out with a razor-thin victory. Personally, I thought Bo was the one who just edged it out in this fight. But I'm not a judge, and Holyfield regained the heavyweight championship. So next, Bo had the fight with Buster Mathis that ended in a no contest. Then he outpointed the undefeated Larry Donald in a lopsided unanimous decision. Then he went on to stop undefeated WBO champion Herbie Hyde. And then finally, he stopped undefeated Jorge Gonzalez, where he successfully defended the WBO belt before dropping it. Bo dropped the WBO so he could pursue a rubber match against rival Holyfield. If Bo and Holyfield were both far removed from their peaks in the rematch, then by the time the third fight happened, they were even further removed. But this wound up being a highly engaging scrap, where once again this clash of styles provided a lot of action. Bo was in control during the early rounds, then Bo was down on the canvas in round 6, and Bo ultimately dropped Holyfield twice in round 8 before the fight was stopped. This was the first time the real deal was ever stopped. At the conclusion of 1995, these were the top-rated heavyweights according to Ring magazine. Despite the fact he didn't hold any major championships, Bo was ranked number 1. And at this time, coming off the stoppage victory against Holyfield, Bo was widely viewed as the best in the business. None of Ring Magazine's top 5 heavyweights held the title at this time, where the heavyweight landscape was in disarray, with the return of Mike Tyson, Foreman having been stripped of his alphabet belts despite still holding a valid claim to the lineage, and just all of the craziness happening at that time. Going into the first Galata fight, the expectation was that Bo would get some rounds in before landing a mega bout showdown against Lennox. Against Bo, Galata proved himself a force to be reckoned with. Galata was a big, strong guy with deceptively fast hands, an excellent jab, and an ample all-around skill set. Many of Bo's critics try and use the Galata fights as proof that Bo couldn't handle a big heavyweight with a good jab. And this plays on the claim that Holyfield, a smaller heavyweight, was the only elite-level boxer that Bo ever defeated. Complicating matters further is the fact that after twice administering a brutal beating upon Bo, Lennox Lewis went on to
I should have based. Why did I base?
Personally, I think this viewpoint is a gross oversimplification
dude, we just never got zapped.
Triangle theories tend to be flawed. On the flip side, a lot of people claim Bo was shot going into the Galata fights. And I don't believe that's correct either. From my perspective, I do believe that Bo was deservedly viewed as the best heavyweight going into 1996. But even though I do believe he was justifiably viewed as the best, he was still very far removed from this guy. The guy who went to battle against Evander Holyfield to earn himself the distinction of becoming the undisputed heavyweight world champion. Bo was no longer that same fighter, but he was still damn good. And the other fact I think gets lost is that Galata at that time was damn good too. Galata was a perfect 28-0 with 25 knockouts coming off of a dominant victory against Doc Nicholson on HBO's Night of the Young Heavyweights.
Why didn't we get
had the confidence of an undefeated boxer, and he had the skills and firepower to give Bo all kinds of trouble.
Hard to
Galata fought with a very
kill
aggressive
everybody,
style,
heal
and
everybody,
everything started with his jab.
and tell everybody what to
Bo
do.
in the battle of jabs during both of their fights. And this is often cited as evidence that Bo couldn't cope with taller athletic fighters who could jab. But the thing of it is, there weren't many boxers who boxed with that uber-aggressive style employed by Galata. The first fight ended when Galata was disqualified for repeated low blows. But Galata was dominating the action when he was fighting within the rules, which was a surprise to most observers. Although in fairness to Bo, being on the receiving end of so many low blows is bound to have an impact. The rematch was even more brutal than their first affair, with Bo and Galata both dishing out and receiving an obscene amount of punishment. Galata dropped Bo with a hard shot near the temple in round 2. Galata's follow-up assault was fierce, but Bo bravely endured everything Galata threw at him. Galata was then deducted a point for a battering ram headbutt. Bo then rallied back and dropped Galata in round 4. Galata was deducted another point in that same round, this time for a low blow. In round 5, Galata rallied back and he unloaded furiously before dropping Bo hard. Bo bravely battled, and he was getting beaten up badly over the next several rounds. But despite all of this, there was no quit in Big Daddy Bo. He hung in there, absorbed tremendous punishment, and he still continued battling and looking to land that game-changing shot. And he almost landed it in round 9. As round 9 was ending, Galata landed a 3-punch combination below the belt, and Galata was disqualified. This was effectively the end of Bo's career, and Galata was never the same after this.
Wow.
These two brutal wars took a lot out of Bo and Galata. Honestly, if a fight like that erupted today, I don't think they would have let it get that far without stopping it sooner. But Bo exhibited unbelievable determination, courage, and championship heart in his 2 bouts against Galata. In conclusion, I believe that Riddick Big Daddy Bo, at his best, would have been a nightmare matchup for any heavyweight in history. I'm not saying he beats everyone, I don't believe that, but I wouldn't be quick to count him out against anyone. A guy like George Foreman could blast him out early, so I'm not even necessarily saying he would be competitive with everyone, but Bo exhibited incredible infighting skills, he could box well from range, and he was excellent at transitioning between ranges. warrior inside the squared circle. Bo's biggest shortcomings surfaced when it came to his preparation and discipline outside the ring, and that no doubt hurts his greater legacy. Bo had a short prime, but during that short prime, he was capable of giving anyone hell. Joe Louis, Muhammad Ali, Vladimir Klitschko, Larry Holmes. Holy shit. Can you imagine an epic mythical matchup between Big Daddy Bo and the Eastern Assassin? And Lennox Lewis, if they were both at their best? I'm personally inclined to favor Lennox Lewis with Emmanuel in his corner, but I certainly don't think it's a sure thing. A damn shame it never happened. So I believe Bo at his best, in a head-to-head sense, is indeed a top 10 heavyweight, perhaps even closer to top 5. But in terms of overall legacy, I have to say no. His prime was simply too short. Can't say Bo is top 10 in terms of overall legacy. But I do think his body of work is considerably better than he gets credit for. He has 2 elite-level victories against prime and near-prime versions of Evander Holyfield. That itself is mighty impressive by any measurable standard. Then I believe he has a lot of good wins that tend to be underrated in the grand scheme.
Egg bomb.
With the Lennox comparison, I don't think Lennox has a single victory better than Bo's 2 victories over Holyfield. But whereas I believe Bo has a lot of good victories that tend to be underrated, I think Lennox has a lot of very good victories that also tend to be underrated in the grand scheme. So even though I believe Bo has the 2 best wins between the two, Lennox's overall body of work is better, and his reign at or near the top was far longer. At the end of the day, Riddick Bowe was an amazingly talented heavyweight champion whose career is ultimately defined by his unfulfilled potential. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed and have a wonderful night. This is Rummy's Corner.
I am stacking.
This is Rummy's Corner. So this episode is inspired by the complete championship profile on Floyd that I released.
I'm okay with that,
back.
even though
the final championship record for Floyd Mayweather Jr. consisted of 26 contests with 26 victories, 0 defeats, 0 draws, and 10 of those 26 victories coming by way of knockout. And the overall final ledger for Floyd consisted of 50 professional contests with 50 victories, 0 defeats, 0 draws, and 27 of those 50 victories coming by way of knockout.
What are you doing?
So
what are you doing?
Half of Floyd's
I'm gonna bully you in this corner. What are you doing?
Contest.
What are you doing?
He has the perfect unblemished record. That's mighty impressive stuff by any measurable standard. But what I find most impressive about Mayweather's championship profile is that during those 26 contests,
why do you think this is okay?
He was really only truly tested twice. The first fight against Jose Luis Castillo in April 2002, and then again in his first bout against Marcos Maidana in May of 2014. Those are really the only 2 times when Mayweather was involved in fights that were extremely close and competitive. Now, if you listen to some of Floyd's harshest critics, many of them will claim he deserved to lose both of those fights, and some of them even claim he deserved to lose a few others. In fact, if you listen to the very vocal extremist faction of Mayweather critics, they would like to have you believe that he should have lost several fights. And once you get into that territory, I believe you're basically dealing with seasoned trolls and or outright haters. There are some people that believe De La Hoya deserved to win in his fight with Floyd. Then you have people who believe he should have been disqualified against Zab Judah and even Victor Ortiz. And amazingly, I've even heard some people claim that Pacquiao deserved a victory over Floyd.
Oh, God,
in my opinion, I thought De La Hoya performed admirably against Mayweather, and he had a strong showing in the first half of the fight. Indeed, I thought Oscar probably had a slight edge at the halfway point, but I believe Mayweather clearly outclassed De La Hoya over the final 6 rounds. The shot against Ortiz may not have been the most sportsmanlike move we've ever seen inside the squared circle, but neither was Ortiz's deliberate battering ram headbutt that preceded this. Regardless, what Floyd did here was perfectly legal and no disqualification was warranted. The bout with Judah is one where, strictly speaking, per the wording of the rules, Mayweather perhaps could have been disqualified here, but referee Richard Steele used his discretion and allowed the fight to continue.
Oh, no.
And the executive director of the commission believed Steele acted accordingly. By the time of the 10th round altercation in this one, Mayweather was in complete control of the action.
Yeah, I
if
like
Floyd
this thing,
had been
but
DQ'd here, it would have strictly been a technicality, because he was winning the fight and adjusted brilliantly after undergoing some early troubles. And those who think Pacquiao won against Mayweather, and this is a very vocal minority that generally consists of vocal Pacquiao fans and or Floyd haters, these people often suggest watching the fight in slow motion in order to prove their case. But it seems clear to me that Mayweather thoroughly outclassed Pacquiao in that one. And I say that as someone who picked Pacquiao to win going into that one. The point I'm getting at here is I think most reasonable observers would be willing to agree that Floyd's two toughest bouts were his first bouts against Castillo and Maidana. These were the only two Floyd bouts that had any aura of true controversy in the outcome. And in both instances, Mayweather granted an immediate rematch where he was the clear victor. Even arguing that Maidana deserved to win his first fight with Floyd is quite the stretch in my eyes. I think the best you can argue is that Maidana may have earned a draw in that run. I mean, you can argue anything you want, but those arguing Maidana deserved to win that one have never been especially convincing to me. So that really just leaves the first Castillo fight. That one was super close, super competitive, and in this one I believe you can definitely make the case that Castillo deserved the victory. Full disclosure before I go any further. I have seen every fight featuring Floyd Mayweather Jr. dating back at least to his first championship run, either the night of the fight or sometime within a week after in the rare event I missed one live. So I've seen all of the important events from Floyd's career while they were happening, and during that time, I officially picked against Floyd 4 times. And I'm not just saying this so I could remind everyone that I suck at predicting fights, and that I don't know shit about boxing. I'm going through these so you can get a better idea of where my perspective is coming from. So the 4 times I picked against Floyd were in his rematch against Castillo, his fight against Sugar Shane Mosley, his fight against Canelo Alvarez, and most recently, as I already mentioned, his long-awaited mega-bout showdown against Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. Of course, I was wrong about each and every one of these picks, but those were my honest views at the time these fights were actually happening. That first Castillo fight, to this very day you hear fans complaining about the verdict.
We won the refight.
With many fans exclaiming that it was a robbery, an absolute robbery. And some fans have been steadfast in writing that it was a robbery in boxing message boards ever since
we won the refight because they couldn't kill me.
ages of the online boxing community. It's one of those things you see repeated so often by so many that it has almost become an established myth among those being critical of Mayweather. My question is this. If that decision...
Dude, look how close I am! Oh my gosh!
What would it really mean in the grand scheme of things? In other words, so what? If that decision had gone Castillo's way, would that really detract from Floyd Mayweather's standing as an all-time great boxing legend? No, it wouldn't. Not for me, anyway. All it would mean is that Floyd had a single blemish on his record that he avenged in a rematch. In an ironic way, a lot of people might regard Floyd in greater esteem if he did suffer an official loss in their first fight. It's ironic because Mayweather kind of
I knew it. 63K, dude. Dude, my egg bomb, this build is perfect for both, all of her sets. This is the perfect build.
That was one of Floyd's biggest selling points in marketing himself. But the reality is, in many, if not most instances, a great fighter isn't always defined by his losses, but rather how he comes back from a loss. Lennox Lewis is a shining example of this. Like Mayweather, Lennox defeated every boxer he ever faced as a professional, and the 2 blemishes on his record, he avenged them both. So if Floyd did get the L against Castillo, would it really change much in the grand scheme of things? It's not as if Castillo wasn't an outstanding fighter in his own right, and Mayweather still clearly won the rematch. And this was the first time I had ever picked against Floyd. It had just seemed to me at that time that Castillo started figuring Floyd out later in the fight, and I thought he'd be able to capitalize on that in the rematch. I was wrong. Mayweather proved to be too smart and too skilled, and he rose to the moment. So really, the only thing that would have maybe been different if Castillo did get the nod is perhaps Floyd's marketing strategy would have been a little different. Crazy. And maybe he wouldn't have been as successful financially. But who knows? What we do know is Floyd was in a close and controversial fight with Castillo. Floyd entered an immediate rematch, and Mayweather proved his worth as the superior boxer. Incidentally, having recently re-watched the first Castillo bout, this was in no way, shape, or form a robbery. You can...
This is Rummy's Corner.
Rummy's Corner.
There have been many awesome rivalries during the long, rich history of professional boxing. And in the last 15 years or so,
I'm not sure.
The most famous among these is certainly the epic rivalry between Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez. To this day, fans are still engaged in heated debate over any and all aspects of this fantastic quadrilogy. So who really won the rivalry?
Do I have an Aeos cookie on?
And Juan Manuel Marquez.
What's my bill? I was just looking at it. All I know is XV.
Take a quick look back at all 4
I'm stacking something
on a round-by-round basis. On May 8th, 2004, at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada, lineal featherweight champion Manny Pacquiao squared off against the unified WBA IBF featherweight champion Juan Manuel Marquez.
This game is so buggy, bro.
Things began with a feeling out process as Pacquiao and Marquez were both trying to discover their range. Marquez found the mark with some nice rights early. About halfway through the round, Pacquiao drilled the champion with a laser left that sent Marquez down. Marquez beat the count, and Pacquiao started firing off some menacing lefts, and Marquez was down again. The champion again beat the count, but he looked badly dazed, and a relentless assault from the Pac-Man had Marquez down for the 3rd time. Marquez again bravely beat the count, and he exhibited amazing heart as he survived the final 30 seconds of the round while being tagged repeatedly by the bludgeoning left hand of Manny Pacquiao. I scored the first round.
They're trying to kill me, he's scoring.
As did judges Jutras and Stewart, whereas Clements strangely had it 10-7 for Pacquiao. In round 2, Pacquiao resumed firing off his lethal left, as Marquez attempted to create more space to try and regain his composure. Many of Pacquiao's lefts were still slipping through, but Marquez was better positioned and better able to absorb them. As the round progressed, Marquez grew more comfortable as he found a more suitable range, and he even started landing some nice leather of his own. Pacquiao did the better work in this round, but Marquez made several key adjustments that certainly disrupted Pacquiao's rhythm and momentum. I had the second round 10-9 for Pacquiao, as did Stewart and Clements, with Jutra scoring the round for Marquez. Marquez was doing a much better job neutralizing Pacquiao's attacks in round 3. Marquez also began landing some nice body shots, and he began finding more success when throwing counter right hands. Pacquiao was trying to find openings for his left, but Marquez wasn't giving him the same windows of opportunity. There was a lot of posturing and positioning and repositioning, but Marquez was more effective. and the third round concluded with a spirited exchange. I scored round 3 for Juan Manuel Marquez, as did all 3 of the official judges. Marquez continued his tactical success from the previous round to begin the 4th, and he continued embracing his role as a patient counterpuncher. Pacquiao remained a little baffled, and he was having trouble finding a worthy target because of the stellar positioning of Marquez. There wasn't a lot of offense from either guy in this round, but Marquez was still more effective, and the fight was being fought at a rhythm that was more to Marquez's liking. I scored the 4th round for Marquez, as did judges Jutras and Stewart, whereas Clements had the round for Pacquiao. Pacquiao's offensive woes continued in round 5, as Marquez was very patient, but patient with a purpose. Marquez continued digging some nice shots to the body, and he rocked Pacquiao with a mean right hand. Pacquiao took it well and soon retaliated with a wicked left, but Marquez absorbed it well. Some fireworks erupted late in the round, and Marquez got the best of this heated exchange. Marquez appeared to be growing in confidence, and Pacquiao was still struggling to re-establish his offensive groove. I scored round 5 for Marquez, as did all 3 of the official judges. Marquez continued making some nice investments downstairs in round 6. Pacquiao landed a nice body shot of his own, but Marquez fired back with a booming right hand that staggered Pac-Man. Marquez followed up with a short combination, and by this point the momentum was clearly all Marquez as he began opening up with more and more precise short combinations. Pacquiao was looking mighty confused as he continued having difficulty creating openings on offense. I scored the 6th round for Marquez, and so did all 3 of the official judges. So at the halfway point in the fight, I personally had it 56-55 for Pacquiao. Bert Clements had it scored 57.
Now you want to attack wild Pokemon? Like, y'all are so backwards. Why would you want to gather at the bottom, bro?
And John Stewart had it 56-55 for Pacquiao. Marquez picked up where he left off to begin round 7. Marquez continued countering well. Pacquiao continued struggling offensively, and Marquez began taking the initiative more often. Pacquiao did land a few nice lefts, but Marquez took them well, and Marquez was still outboxing the Pac-Man, and Marquez was still getting the best of most of the exchanges. Pacquiao drilled Marquez with a flush left at the end of the 7th, but Marquez still did the better work, even if Pacquiao had more offensive success than he had in quite some time. I scored round 7 for Marquez, as did judges Clements and Jutras, whereas Stewart had it for Pacquiao. The tactical chess match continued in the 8th, where Marquez continued embracing counterpunching tactics, as Pacquiao was trying to build on his improved offensive effort from the previous round. There wasn't a whole lot of offense from either boxer in this round, with both guys having some isolated spots of success. It was a very close round that was arguably the most difficult round to score to this point. I still thought Marquez was slightly better, so I scored the 8th for Marquez, but all 3 of the official judges scored this round for Manny Pacquiao. In round 9, Marquez continued doing good work, but Pacquiao began finding sneaky ways to land more shots. They weren't devastating shots like he was landing in the opening round, but they were still scoring shots that enabled Pacquiao to disrupt Marquez's momentum. Pacquiao was also exhibiting some better defensive technique in this round, and he began frequently blocking incoming fire. Pacquiao even managed to land a snappy uppercut, and he began using his jab more, which is something that had largely been absent. Pacquiao had finally made some of the necessary tactical adjustments, and he was more successful because of it. I scored round 9 for Manny Pacquiao, as did Judge Stewart, whereas Jutras and Clements both had the round for Marquez. Pacquiao appeared to have a little extra bounce in his step to begin the 10th. Marquez landed a nice counter right early in the round, and Pacquiao landed a nice right hook. A heated exchange broke out that saw both boxers having moments. But over the final stretch of the round, Pacquiao was once again dialed in with his left hand, and he landed several clubbing, speedy shots. It was another competitive round, but Pacquiao was landing more, and he was landing harder. I had round 10 for Pacquiao, as did judges Clements and Stewart, whereas Jutras had the 10th for Marquez. The 11th round was a tricky one to score. Things began tactically with both boxers looking to strategically create openings. Marquez was doing a better job neutralizing Pacquiao's left early on, and this enabled Marquez to land some well-timed short combinations. But Pacquiao started creating more openings of his own later in the round, and Pacquiao was landing what appeared to be the heavier shots.
I can't believe he got another unit.
But Marquez was the one who seemed to be doing the better overall work during this particular 3-minute stretch. I had Marquez just edging round 11 on my card. Clements and Jutras also both scored the 11th for Marquez, whereas Stewart had it for Pacquiao. In the 12th and final round, Pacquiao drilled Marquez with a booming left early on, and Marquez soon fired
we
back.
We would have won if we fought
right.
as a team. What was my team doing, dude? We kind of just lost.
Pacquiao and Marquez were both having moments.
I should have checked to see who was the highest level, and I should have only healed
tended
them.
to be more effective than the sneaky right hands from Marquez. It was a tremendous show of heart and determination from both boxers as they closed out the show in admirable
I had no
fashion.
stats.
I had Pacquiao edging the 12th and final round on my card, but all three judges scored the final round for Marquez. At the end of the night, the fight was officially ruled a draw. Bert Clements scored it even at 113 apiece. Guy Jutras scored it 115-110 for Juan Manuel Marquez, and Jon Stewart scored it 115-110 for Manny Pacquiao.
Manny
Pacquiao just edged it, but I certainly thought it was close enough that it reasonably could have gone either way. And the fact that the official judges were all over the place here, I believe this is indicative of the fact that this one was a judging nightmare. On March 15, 2008, at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, WBC junior lightweight champion Juan Manuel Marquez put his title on the line against challenger Manny Pacquiao. The action began tactically as both boxers were looking to become reacquainted. There was a lot of mutual respect on display, with Pacquiao and Marquez both reluctant to overextend. Pacquiao was trying to jab more, and Marquez got his attention with about a minute left in the opening stanza. Both boxers remained cool and patient, and Pacquiao snuck in a nice left hand. It was a super close and competitive round that reasonably could have been scored either way. I personally thought Marquez just edged it, having landed the best punch in the round, but all three of the official judges scored the round for Pacquiao. Pacquiao continued trying to jab his way inside early in the second. Marquez was also trying to lead at times, and both boxers were very defensively aware. They were both sometimes missing just short with efforts to counterpunch, and Marquez then found his target with a reaching left hand. A nice exchange broke out where each guy was sneaking in some well-placed blows, and as the round was drawing near its conclusion, Marquez drilled Pacquiao with a number of beautifully timed counters. I gave round 2 to Marquez, and all three official judges did as well. Marquez caught Pacquiao with a quick counter left fairly early in the third. Pacquiao was still using his jab to try and find openings for his left, and he was having some success with this. But Marquez soon walked Pacquiao into a booming right hand. Pacquiao took it well, and he was still committed to trying to jab his way inside. As round 3 was winding down, Pacquiao clobbered him with a beautiful short left. Marquez was down, and he appeared to be pretty badly shaken. He made it to his feet, and Pacquiao tried following up as the two traded furiously until the round was over, with Marquez almost going down again. I scored the third round 10-8 for Pacquiao, as did all three of the official judges. Pacquiao appeared to have more confidence as he went on the attack to start the fourth. Some nice little exchanges broke out early, and Pacquiao was getting the best of them. Manny was also finding different ways to land crisp left hands, and while Marquez was still having some effective spots, Pacquiao was now winning the battle of tactics and executing more effectively. And this was largely due to the fact that Pacquiao's right hand was becoming a bigger factor in his strategy. I had round 4 for Manny Pacquiao, and all three of the official judges did too. Pacquiao was firing off his jab in round 5, and while it wasn't always landing, it was effectively disrupting Marquez's rhythm. Pacquiao was having some nice moments, but as the round progressed, Marquez began finding ways to counter more accurately. Pacquiao was still utilizing his right hand well, and he was still finding ways to land sneaky left hands. Later in the round, Marquez drilled Pacquiao with a beautiful right hand, and this was another super close competitive round. But I thought Pacquiao did better work in round 5. All three official judges, however, disagreed. They all scored the 5th for Marquez. Pacquiao landed a crunching left hand early in the 6th, but Marquez soon retaliated with a stiff right. About a minute into the round, Marquez landed another booming right that caught Pacquiao off guard. Marquez had appeared to make a subtle adjustment as he was soon finding new ways to land some hammering right hands. With Marquez's newfound success with the right, Pacquiao stopped using his own right hand the way he had been. And because of this, Marquez was able to frequently create more favorable angles. I scored round 6 for Juan Manuel Marquez, as did Judge Roth. Miller and Ford both scored the 6th for Pacquiao. So at the halfway point in the contest, Tom Miller and Dwayne Ford both had Pacquiao up 58-55, and Jerry Roth had Pacquiao up 57-56, which is also the same score that I had. In round 7, Marquez started throwing more lead lefts both downstairs and up. Pacquiao was trying to work behind his jab again, but Marquez was offsetting this by leading more often, especially with left hands. They were both still looking to create openings for their respective money punches, but the tactical dynamics had shifted focus somewhat. An accidental clash of heads prompted referee Kenny Bayless to briefly halt the action, and when action resumed, the peculiar shift in strategies resumed, with Pacquiao trying to re-establish his right, and Marquez trying to gain traction with his left. Pacquiao's right hand was winning this mini-battle, but Marquez stood his ground and battled. It was another crazy close round. I thought Marquez edged it in round 7, and all three of the official judges also scored it for Marquez. In round 8, Marquez resumed getting off first with his left, and this was creating openings. Pacquiao was no longer using his right, and Marquez began attacking ferociously. Not only was Marquez consistently getting off first with his left, but he also began countering more effectively and walking Pacquiao directly into traps. Marquez was exceptional in this round, and with his left hand consistently being far more effective than Pacquiao's right, Marquez was able to easily dictate the action to his liking. Pacquiao was taking the shots well, and he was still battling, but Marquez was outboxing him with authority. I scored round 8 for Marquez, as did all three of the official judges. The 9th began with Marquez getting off first with a nice left, but Pacquiao was soon flicking out his right jab again. They weren't landing, but they were keeping Marquez distracted. Before long, Pacquiao was using his right to begin attacking more effectively like he had been earlier. Marquez, however, was still getting off first more often than not, even if Pacquiao was landing the better shots when he did land. Marquez delivered a terrific right late in the round, and this ignited a firefight that lasted to the final bell. I thought Pacquiao edged it in round 9, although it was very close. Roth scored the round for Marquez, and judges Miller and Ford scored the 9th for Pacquiao. Pacquiao landed a left-hand bomb early in round 10, and Marquez was hurt. Pac-Man went on the attack, but Marquez kept cool under fire and quickly regained his composure.
Oh, I can
Pacquiao
score
was
here? What the
patient,
hell?
and he didn't overextend, and he soon drilled Marquez with a sweet counter left. Marquez was still trying, but his attacks were mostly ineffective, while Pacquiao was patiently finding ways to hit home with his left. I scored round 10 for Manny Pacquiao, and all three of the official judges also had it for Pacquiao.
Nice.
Marquez was warned by Bayless for a low blow early in round 11, and after that, Marquez had reclaimed the tactical advantage. Marquez was very resourceful, and he was finding all types of ways to land sharp right hands. Pacquiao landed a booming left late in the round, but prior to that, he wasn't all that effective in this round. I had round 11 for Marquez, and all three of the official judges also scored it for Juan Manuel. In the 12th and final round, both boxers understandably looked exhausted, but Marquez was the one who seemed to have that little something extra left in the tank. Marquez was consistently doing the better work, and while Pacquiao did have some spots of success,
Why did I stop scoring? Because I'm trash. I'm bad at the game.
12. I scored the final round for Juan Manuel Marquez, as did judges Miller and Roth, whereas Ford scored the final round for Manny Pacquiao.
But that's okay. Now they don't
At the
have
end of the
fun.
night, Manny Pacquiao was awarded a split decision victory. Tom Miller scored it 114-113 for Pacquiao. Dwayne Ford had it 115-112 for Pacquiao. And Jerry Roth had it 115-112 for Marquez. I personally thought Marquez just edged it this time, but once again, I certainly thought it was close enough that it reasonably could have gone either way. It was another absolute judging nightmare. On November 12, 2011, at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada, WBO welterweight champion Manny Pacquiao defended
It had
his
to be
title
Absol up
against
there,
Juan
right?
Manuel Marquez at a catch weight of 144 pounds. Things began tactically, with both prize fighters showing one another mutual respect. Pacquiao was trying to utilize his jab early on, and Marquez was looking to establish his left. It was almost like a continuation of the battle of lead hands we saw in the rematch. Pacquiao was using his right hand more frequently, and it helped him establish some openings. It was a cautious beginning for both, but Pacquiao did more in the opening round. I scored the first round for Pacquiao, as did all three of the official judges. Things remained cautious and tactical in round 2. Marquez started countering more effectively when Pacquiao threw, but both were still very selective with their offensive maneuvers. Pacquiao and Marquez were each trying to focus some attention on the body.
I got the zap.
To be discovering a better overall rhythm, and he was boxing more effectively. I scored round 2 for Marquez, as did Judge Moretti, whereas Hoyle and Trowbridge scored it for Pacquiao. Round 3 started with a familiar pattern, as both boxers were doing a lot of posturing as they studiously searched for favorable punching angles. Marquez nailed Pacquiao with a sneaky uppercut, and the intriguing battle for position resumed. They were both fighting very intelligently, but Marquez was a touch more clever when it came to finding resourceful ways to land. And whenever Pacquiao did land, Marquez almost always came back with something. Pacquiao landed a crisp counter as the round drew close.
I probably can help Lucario
and the two
here.
traded until the final bell. I had round 3 for Marquez, but all three of the official judges scored this round for Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao began landing some sharper punches early on in the 4th. Pacquiao was also finding ways to press his speed advantage, but Marquez kept his cool. Juan Manuel started having better spots during the later parts of the round, but Pacquiao neutralized most of his efforts. As the round was ending, the two boxers traded, and Pacquiao snuck in 2 damaging blows. I scored round 4 for Manny Pacquiao, But all three of the official judges scored
That
this
was
one
crazy.
for
They just
Marquez.
never came to Zap. That's what happens when you don't go to
Marquez opened up
Zap.
with an attack early in round 5, and Pacquiao was defensively sound. There weren't a whole lot of sharp punches.
234. I didn't even get
But once
MVP.
again, Marquez was the one being just a little more clever when it came to creating favorable angles. Pacquiao wasn't using his jab much in this round, which enabled Marquez to get off first whenever he
I just
found
made
an
my
open
team
lane.
OP.
And Marquez drilled Pacquiao with some
Look at the
well-timed
medals.
shots late in the round. I had the 5th round for Marquez, as did all 3 of the official judges scoring the contest. The basic rhythm continued into round 6, with a lot of feinting, a lot of posturing, a lot of maneuvering for position, and a brilliant tactical clash of wills. Each boxer was having his spots of success. Marquez may have had a few more moments, but Pacquiao's moments tended to be more explosive. It was a super competitive round that reasonably could have been scored either way. I myself thought Pacquiao edged it in round 6, and all 3 of the judges also scored the 6th for Pacquiao.
This is my last
So at the
one.
halfway point,
I want to watch some
Robert Hoyle
Minecraft
and Glenn Trowbridge both had it
and eat some rice.
58-56 for Manny Pacquiao, and Judge Dave Moretti had it at 57 apiece, which is the same score I had midway through. The intellectual chess match resumed to begin round 7, and early on, Marquez delivered a mean right hand.
Oh, I'm just running focus band?
Whenever Pacquiao went
No
on the
score
attack,
shield, nobody
Marquez
barrier,
was
focus
usually able
band.
to
I'm
dance
stacking
out of
cookie.
harm's
I'm not
way
even
with
doing
tremendous
special attack
footwork.
specs.
Marquez also was still
I don't have
finding
any
ways
special
to
attack
create
investment.
sneaky openings. Pacquiao was
That's
most
all
effective
level.
when he worked
I've been
behind his
stacking
jab,
cookie.
but far too often he was neglecting his right and allowing Marquez to get off first. I scored round 7 for Marquez, as did all 3 of the official judges. Pacquiao continued looking perplexed throughout the first half of round 8. Marquez wasn't doing a whole lot offensively, but what he was doing was far more effective. Marquez was very innovative in finding ways to deliver well-timed shots, and Pacquiao wasn't using his jab effectively, or using it much at all for that matter. Pacquiao did find a home for a nice left near the end of the round, but Marquez was the one who was dictating the flow, and he was scoring more frequently. I scored round 8 for Marquez, as did Judge Hoyle, whereas Moretti and Trowbridge both scored it for Pacquiao. Marquez continued attacking more effectively early in round 9, but then it was Pacquiao who began finding clever ways to land sneaky shots. The 2 boxers exchanged more in this round, and Pacquiao seemed to be getting the best of the back and forth. But Marquez stood his ground strong and continued having his own spots of success. It wound up being another razor-thin super close round. I scored round 9 for Manny Pacquiao, as did Moretti and Trowbridge, while Hoyle scored the 9th for Marquez. The intensity level remained high in round 10. Both boxers were looking a little fatigued, but both were still displaying world-class determination in this tactical engagement. There were some heated exchanges in the round, but both boxers were beginning to miss wider off the mark in the midst of battle. This was yet another competitive round with very little separating the 2 prize fighters. I thought Pacquiao edged it in the 10th round, as did judges Moretti and Trowbridge. Hoyle scored round 10 for Marquez. Things began slowly and cautiously early in round 11, but things soon heated up where the round was defined by a series of separate short exchanges.
I'm gonna naturally
Sometimes Pacquiao seemed to get the best of these moments, and other times it was Marquez who seemed to be working more effectively. Neither Pacquiao nor Marquez was consistently punching as sharply as they had been earlier, but they were both still finding ways to land on the target. I thought Marquez edged it in round 11, and Moretti also scored the round for Marquez. Hoyle and Trowbridge scored the 11th for Pacquiao. In the 12th and final round, Manny Pacquiao is the one who seemed to have a greater sense of urgency. He was throwing more punches, and while he wasn't overly effective, he was still landing some shots. Marquez was embracing defensively oriented tactics, and while he did open up with some decent shots here and there, Pacquiao was out-hustling him down the final stretch of the contest. I scored round 12 for Manny Pacquiao, as did Hoyle and Moretti, whereas Trowbridge had the 12th round for Marquez. At the end of the night, Manny Pacquiao was awarded a majority decision victory. Robert Hoyle had it even at 114 apiece. Dave Moretti had it 115-113 for Pacquiao, and Glenn Trowbridge scored it 116-112 for Pacquiao. I personally thought this one was a draw, and yet again, I certainly thought it was close enough that it reasonably could have gone either way, or indeed have been ruled a draw. It was yet another absolute judging nightmare. On December 8, 2012, at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada, Manny Pacquiao and career rival Juan Manuel Marquez would meet yet again for the fourth battle in their epic rivalry. Both boxers began the fourth contest a bit more aggressively than they had during their previous encounter. Pacquiao was the one who was especially more aggressive, and while both boxers were having some early spots of success, Pacquiao was more energetic with his attacks. Pacquiao was also keeping his attacks short and managing.
You saw how you split right there, because I knew he can't hit both of us.
As the round drew towards a close, Pacquiao caught Marquez with a nice counter of his own.
Like, he can't shoot an arrow at both of us, was my thought process.
As did all three.
That's why I went up right there, because I don't want to just keep running. We're going to get doubles killed.
Rhythm in round 2. But Pacquiao was still busier, and he was still effectively attacking in ways that minimized Marquez's countering opportunities. Marquez started landing a little better in this round, but Pacquiao was still controlling the action and executing better. I scored round 2 for Pacquiao, and all three judges did as well. In round 3, Pacquiao continued being busier and more effective, as he was simply throwing more and landing more. Pacquiao was fighting with a great level of intensity and a heightened sense of determination. A bit past the halfway point in the round, Marquez flicked out his left before delivering a thunderous right hand that drove Pacquiao down to the canvas. Pacquiao quickly managed his way back to his feet. Marquez remained cool and collected, and patiently went back to business, where he was boxing well and landing some nice crisp shots. Pacquiao seemed to have cleared his head over the last 30 seconds, and the round ended with both men trading. I scored the fourth round 10-8 for Juan Manuel Marquez, as did all three of the official judges scoring the contest. Round 4 began with Marquez getting off first more often than not. Pacquiao countered him with a sweet right hand, and Pacquiao was trying to beat Marquez to the punch, but now it was Marquez who was generally throwing more and landing more. It was a solid bounce-back round for Manny after suffering the knockdown, but Marquez was more effective in the fourth. I scored round 4 for Marquez, as did all three of the official judges. Both boxers were looking to re-establish command of the range early in round 5. Marquez and Pacquiao were both testing the waters with their jabs, and there was a lot of feinting and posturing as each was trying to trigger a mistake to exploit in the other. About a minute into the round, Pacquiao buzzed Marquez with a superbly timed left hand. Marquez touched the canvas, so referee Kenny Bayless began his count. When action resumed, Marquez landed a monster.
Whoa, that's not at all who I wanted.
Well. Then a firefight broke out with both guys swinging for the fences, and they both landed some absolutely menacing shots. Pacquiao had Marquez hurt again late in the round, but Marquez somehow managed to hold on until the round had ended. I scored the 5th round 10-8 for Manny Pacquiao, and all three of the official judges also had a 10-8 for Pacquiao. Things began tactically in round 6. Both boxers were cautiously feeling things out, and Pacquiao was patient as Marquez seemed to have had his legs back under him. Pacquiao soon unleashed a furious attack where he landed some nice punches. Pacquiao continued attacking ferociously, and Marquez began absorbing some serious
The fact that we just lost the goals.
But Pacquiao never overexerted himself, and Marquez started finding isolated spots to unload. As round 6 was drawing towards an end, Pacquiao began getting aggressive, and Marquez walked him right into a monster right. Pacquiao was down, and he would not be beating the count. The fight was over. It was a 6th round knockout for Juan Manuel Marquez. What I personally love so much about this rivalry is how it evolved over the course of 8+ years. The first fight basically boiled down to Pacquiao's offensive explosiveness and Marquez's outstanding abilities as a counterpuncher. It was Pacquiao's dynamite left versus Marquez's quick counter right. And then at some point during their second contest, the main dynamic seemed to evolve into a battle of lead hands, where Pacquiao's right was the key to setting up his left, and Marquez's left was a key to creating openings for his right. That changing dynamic continued into their third fight, where the tactical chess match had now elevated to a new level of mastery. And then the fourth fight, you still have the tactical aspect as the foundation of it all, but both of these guys were really looking to hurt the other with loaded up punches. It was just a spectacular.
We all died. What happened? How? He united though, so
when you look
we
back
can
at
get
these
zapped.
4 amazing matches, very little separated these two boxers. The first fight was a controversial draw that very reasonably could have been scored either way, or indeed a draw. The second fight was a split decision victory for Pacquiao, and again, this very reasonably could have been scored either way, or indeed perhaps a draw. The third fight was a majority decision victory for Pacquiao.
Oh God.
Yet again, it could very reasonably have been scored either way, or even a draw. And then even the fourth fight, all 3 judges had Pacquiao ahead by 1 point after 5 rounds. It's interesting to note that all 3 judges had the rounds exactly the same in this one, and I agreed with them across the board. So in that sense, the fourth fight, ironically, seemed like the easiest one to score of the bunch. The one fight that didn't need to go to the scorecards. I personally thought Pacquiao just edged it in their first bout, and then I thought Marquez just edged it in the rematch. And in the third fight, I personally had it a draw. So going into the fourth fight, I had them 1-1 and 1 against each other. Dead even. So in my eyes, with that fourth fight, Marquez just edged the series if you go fight by fight. However, I'm not a judge.
I should have went for more score.
And officially, Pacquiao won the rivalry.
We didn't even touch it. They touched it.
Pacquiao has 2 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. So statistically speaking, Pacquiao factually won the rivalry. But on a deeper level, considering how little separated these 2 boxing masters over the course of 42 competitive rounds, I think the definitive conclusion is that Marquez put an exclamation point on the rivalry by scoring that epic 6th round knockout. In other words, Pacquiao may have officially won the rivalry in the record books, but that one lone definitive victory in the group of 4, I think that tells the real story here. In an all-time sense, Pacquiao definitely rates higher than Marquez. I don't think there is any question that Pacquiao's overall body of work